Hi, everybody. Welcome to FNS Wrestling Podcast, episode 98. I'm your host, back in the basement, across the table from my co-host and teenage son, Jack. Say hello, Jack.
Hi.
I am incredibly full. Just had a large brunch. You did not. You are drinking a booster juice instead.
Yeah.
Your brother had 3 hours of basketball again. We went out for brunch afterwards. You made the probably wise decision to stay home
Yeah.
while we did all of that. And I'm
Yeah.
incredibly tired, so we'll see how this goes. I got home at 3 o'clock in the morning last night from my own choice, for sure. That was a poker game. Had a lot of fun. Out at a friend's place. And then got back here at like 2:30. Had to drive a buddy home. Got home for good at 3 o'clock in the morning. So not a lot of sleep, but that might make it more interesting. I don't know.
I thought you came home earlier than that because I know I was up.
I
so-
just dropped my bag off and then drove V home and then came back. So I ended up home for good at like 3 o'clock.
I could have sworn it was 1 something. That's weird.
It was definitely not. But yeah, so, and I don't know, you were feeling a bit better today? Your throat was bugging you yesterday?
Yeah,
Hope
well,
it-
now my head's starting to act up, so we'll see how that goes.
Hoping to get through this podcast.
I
Well,
anticipate tomorrow being a very fun day.
the only thing I can tell you is that it finally happened, folks. I did not watch NXT this week, and I am not reviewing NXT this week. So that is something new. It took a long time.
What did you do?
I've seen every single episode ever, and now I have not. I did not watch this week. I
Took
saw
'em
maybe 40
long.
seconds of something when I was flipping through channels, but they have defeated me. I will not watch it. I'll probably still listen to reviews of the show that I enjoy listening to those people talk about it, and if it sounds like anything great comes up, you never know, I might check it out again.
Or
But
something's like so bad.
I think now that I've missed it once, it'll be easier to get easier and easier not
Like
to
when
watch it.
someone's got an undefeated streak.
But we're gonna watch maybe In Your House tonight. I
Maybe.
don't know.
Or it could be also like so if someone's like it's something like so bad you gotta see it. Kind
Yeah.
Of thing.
Could be that. If I hear there's something so awful, I should check it out possibly. But yeah, and then tomorrow we're going to a birthday party
If
for
I'm not sick.
a friend of ours down the street. So that's what our plans look like for this weekend. Anything exciting happened to you this week?
I
don't know.
got sick.
Well, obviously you just said that. Anything else? Anything other than things you've already said 2 or 3 times? Can't think of anything. Big
No.
exciting week for you, eh?
Yeah, as always.
Yep. So we're just we got like 3 weeks left of school, winding down, and then summer starts. So that will be fun for you, hopefully. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe it'll be awful. I think you should get a job. That's what I think.
No,
Yeah.
not happening.
Why?
Don't want to. Don't think I should.
Yeah, you want money. You want to buy all these figures. You know, you got to get that money somewhere. But anyways.
Yeah.
We're going to do something to get you out of the house this summer. You're not going to just be sitting around here all summer. I'll tell you that.
I'm working out something else.
Oh, what's that? Some volunteer hours?
I guess.
Nice. Where are you going to do that?
I have no idea. I think it's Fairwood, so that just sucks.
Which is his school. His old school. His elementary school.
Yeah.
But anyways, I don't know. Do you have anything else to talk about?
I do not.
We're going to change up the format a little bit this week because we didn't get around to reviewing Double or Nothing on its own. So we're going to throw it at the beginning of this. I think
It's not a backlash situation where we just didn't want to and we didn't care.
No, I mean, it was a super long pay-per-view. We'll get into that.
I'd say we probably could have with no NXT one, but I guess it kind of replaces it this
That's
week.
right. So we're going to do our news and rumors, then talk about Double or Nothing, then some AEW Dynamite, then some trivia, then some NXT UK, and then the Any Other Wrestling Business. The only thing, since NXT is done for me, is we will preview Hell in a Cell. Correct? Which I will be doing off the top of my head because I don't even think I know what the matches are at this point.
I didn't care to like rethink them.
Nope, me either. So we'll get our reactions in the moment and our predictions on that. But I say we get going. What do you think?
Yep.
All right, so let's take a look at some of the week's wrestling news and rumors. So ratings-wise, I will still do the ratings for NXT, even though I'm not watching it, just because I'm curious to see where it goes every week. So this week was the go-home edition of NXT ahead of In Your House, and it drew not so great 537,000 viewers, down 3% from last week, and earned a 0.12 in the key demographic, which is down from a 0.13 last week. So a barely move there. Continues what's been a little bit of a downward trend rating-wise. Despite that pay-per-view coming up tonight. So not great ratings for them, but not really surprising. I don't know why people...
Premium live event.
I don't know why people would be
Whoops.
watching... What was that?
I have no idea.
I don't know why people would be watching this product still, but anyways, unless they're like WWE completists or something, because I'm about as hardcore an NXT fan as it gets, and I am done with it. So
Indeed.
to contrast, the Double or Nothing post Double or Nothing episode of Dynamite drew 969,000 viewers, so they're up 4%, earned a robust 0.40 in the key demographic, which is up 14%. So there's a very solid numbers, especially that's a really big key demographic number. So good for them off of a pay-per-view that we'll talk about. I didn't want to say if I liked it or didn't like it at this point, but we will get to that. So yeah, what do you have for news?
Biggest news of the week came on Rampage last night as CM Punk revealed he is injured. He requires surgery, but will not relinquish the title because we have to make things complicated. So
Yes,
we'll have an interim champion that will be crowned in his place. Will be crowned at Forbidden Door. So
something about a battle royal I saw.
Here's the convoluted stuff.
Fill me in.
On Dynamite next week, the winner of a battle royal will face number one contender Jon Moxley in that same night's main event. The winner will go on to Forbidden Door to face the winner of Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Hiroki Goto. So basically, battle royal will face Mox because he's number one contender.
Right.
Whoever wins Mox versus insert name goes to Forbidden Door to face. I think it's at.
So people outside of your company get a better shot at the interim title than people in your company?
I think, and I saw someone say it should have been Tanahashi is in a non-title match because people will be fine with that as Tanahashi.
Yes.
And then you have Mox versus someone else, have the Battle Royal person go to the pay-per-view against Mox, because I think then it's clearly whoever wins Mox versus blank.
Right.
And my friend said it should be MJF, and I'm like, I
don't think so yet.
That doesn't work because I feel like that kind of short circuits the story they're telling there. I think they probably already have a plan for that.
Agree.
And I'd rather them do something else that doesn't have to involve the double titles. And I feel like, on one hand, I'm okay with Punk keeping the title, it's fine, but also because then you don't have to do a 2-time champion because maybe they want to save that milestone for Omega.
Right.
But at the same time, I feel like it's just easier if you avoid all this interim title nonsense because the last time they did that was really messy. Although to be fair, this could actually be worthwhile interim champion depending on how bad Punk is out.
It's his foot, right? Is that what I saw?
I think something like that. I'm not sure actually.
So yeah, I just sort of saw this about 5 minutes before coming down here. So interesting to see. I didn't know they were including New Japan people in this interim title hunt, but I guess we'll see where it goes.
Also wish it was someone not Tanahashi or Hiroki Goto.
Agree. Those are not two of my favorites on that roster.
Well, and it's just I don't think anyone from New Japan's taking the title, but
I don't either.
They're far from the most believable options to come to AEW and take the title.
It should be Ospreay or Zack Sabre Jr. or something.
I'd like Ospreay, and also if Mox won, he's faced Ospreay before in New Japan.
I'm not even a big Ospreay fan. It just feels like that would make a bit more sense. He's more of a main eventer, headliner kind of guy.
Or
than
even
Tanahashi at this point.
Because he's also been there already. You could even go Jay White or something.
Yep, you could.
Or I don't know, just not Tanahashi. Cause I don't really think Hiroki Goto's doing it because Tanahashi already came out and I just think I don't know, Tanahashi's their guy, and I don't think that's really Goto. I know who Goto is, but I don't think he's done much.
And I don't think a ton of fans, unless they're following New Japan, are gonna know who Goto is either. But I don't know. I guess we'll find out. To go along with the MJF sort of brewing storyline that's been going on, he's been removed from the AEW roster, and his merchandise is no longer available on their website either. So I think this is kind of a nice touch, right? That they're feeding into this current angle where MJF is at odds with Tony Khan. And I think, again, this is one of those, there's probably a kernel of truth to this. I think he's probably unhappy with the amount of money he makes because a couple people who have signed since he renegotiated are making more money than him. But I also am fairly confident that they have just decided to make this a storyline as well, right? So there's a little bit of truth there, and then they're just expanding it into what I think is a really cool storyline. So
bending the truth, as they say.
Right, and going as far as to remove him from the website and his merchandise, I think is smart. A nice touch. So I mean, this is one of those, some of my favorite storylines in wrestling ever are the ones that kind of blur the line between reality, right? And so this is what they're doing. It's like a Punk Pipe Bomb 2.0 kind of situation, and I'm kind of here for it.
Yeah, I really like it. We'll talk more about it.
We'll get into it in detail, but so that is something they are doing.
Mm-hmm. Sammy Guevara and Pam number 2, Ty Conti get engaged in Paris.
At the Eiffel Tower, how romantic.
Cool.
Yeah, great. Good job.
I anticipate they're engaged for a month.
Good for them.
He dumps her, and then she ends with American Top Team, and he Search dating. We'll go with Anna Jay.
Abaddon.
And oh wait, no, Anna Jay's a Jungle Boy. Okay, yeah, we'll go with Abaddon, and then they feud with like Ethan Page and Ty Conti
You never know.
or something like that. You have any more?
Yeah, I have a couple. What do I have? 2 more? 3 more? 3 more. A very quick one. Jeff Hardy, in an interview with someone somewhere, I can't remember, said that he felt disrespected by being put into WWE 24/7 storylines, as he should be.
Yeah.
Like, basically, for him, that was pretty much the point. That was the indication that they're kind of done with you.
Even if you're not a fan of
Right.
Jeff Hardy, which I don't think we are, but like I'd have to like
You're not
that's a
coming
disrespect
back,
for like
Right.
90% of the roster, and then also like I don't know, like you can find something for him.
and you're not coming back from that. It's not like you're gonna go to 24/7 and then they're gonna heat you back up later. I think feels like once you're in that group of people, that's where you are, right? You are
Yeah.
not a serious contender for anything now. You are a 24/7 joke.
Yeah, and I don't love Jeff Hardy, but I
No.
don't know how he ends up there. I
Yes.
honestly forgot he was involved in that at all.
He was, and that was the kind of the tipping point for him, I think.
I don't blame him. I just wish he had chosen elsewhere.
Impact or something that we don't watch.
Yes,
Right.
and he's
Although I
been there
check in
before.
with Impact, I guess, but I haven't lately. Maybe I will now that I've got no NXT to watch.
Mm-hmm.
What else? I have 2 more after that.
So Kazuchika Okada's reported opponent for Forbidden Door, he'll defend his IWGP title against reportedly Hangman Page. So
That's an awesome match.
very appealing.
Very appealing, yes. I will definitely.
I don't really think Hangman would win, but still,
Probably not, but
that'd be interesting if he did.
yeah. But it should be an awesome match. One that
Yeah,
I'd be
that
looking.
should- that
2
should be
guys
really
in their
cool.
prime, right?
Yeah.
Top talents in their prime, ready to go. I'm here for it.
Mm-hmm.
Back to AEW again. Thunder Rosa apparently frustrated by her lack of TV time. That was in a What Culture exclusive interview. So unnamed sources close to the
That's where I got my
situation.
stuff.
Sorry?
That's where I got my stuff.
Right. They're saying that the reigning AEW Women's Champion, which is Thunder Rosa, she's frustrated with how little she's being on screen lately.
Maybe she should kind of learn how to do promos better.
It would help. And it was made worse by Wednesday's episode of Dynamite, which she received no focus whatsoever, despite having, I'll say it, I thought it was a really good match with Serena Deeb at Double or Nothing. It has been pretty well received, and then she wasn't on the follow-up show, right? So I don't think she's wrong. As the champion, she probably should be more visible. And in the era of, like, it just seems like this whole everything's great at AEW and everyone loves each other backstage. There's no tension. There's no anything. It seems like that's over right now. There's a couple people coming out being expressing their displeasure with sort of the way it's inevitable.
Which I'm not surprised. Yeah, because there's so many people
when
there.
you have this much talent
Yeah,
and limited
exactly.
TV time, right? Egos get involved. All of these people have egos, and people become unhappy.
I think it like even if it's just like because it's an internet show, but convert one of the dark shows to something like for the women. Like I mean, I know that's not like it's not Dynamite level, but it's at least like something. It would give some of them more time in that because I don't think you need dark and dark elevation, right? I think you can choose one of those, change it, and then that's something like I it's not a big spotlight, sure, but then at least like it would be something like sure you could say it's still getting wins on the internet as you say, but like at least it would be like it wouldn't be like dark. It would be like, and you could like tell the B storylines there. You know what I mean? Like with I don't know, they haven't been on a while, but like Bunny and Penelope for their kind of stuff would kind of be there.
Yeah.
And like that would be extra time for someone like Rosa, and like you could still have the major ones make it to Dynamite, of course. But then I think that's like where a lot of filler could go, and that would just kind of benefit the division probably.
Yeah, it feels like they only really have time on Dynamite to address 1 or 2 storylines. Like usually the Jade and the baddies are there for a quick something.
Yeah, usually
and
get
then
like
some
a
other
few
storyline, and that's
small
it.
segments, a match, and then
That's it. A match that's cut off by commercials.
Yep,
Generally.
pretty much every time.
Yep. What else do you have?
So Johnny Elite had an open challenge on Dynamite and was answered by Miro, who is now returned. So
yeah, he looked good, I thought.
Pretty good.
We'll talk about that when we get there too, but yeah, it was nice to see because we've been saying like, where is he? Where is he? So I don't know if it was
pointed out has not been seen since November.
Was it
the
his
finals
neck?
of the Eliminator.
He was getting fixed. Like that's
I had no idea.
That's my guess storyline wise. That's what they're saying.
I had no idea.
I think it might be
true.
true.
Yeah, and then he was in Bulgaria at one point.
Right. My final one is that Matt Hardy has come out and confirmed that Jeff Hardy was indeed injured at AEW Double or Nothing. Seems like a head injury, and they're still not sure when it exactly occurred, but that Jeff was basically, quote, out of it for much of the match at Double or Nothing and doesn't actually remember the match, and that basically Matt was giving credit to himself and the Young Bucks for just being veteran performers that can sort of work around that sort of injury.
Yeah, because I wouldn't have noticed. Like, I thought he looked kind of off in his entrance,
but we had also some. I had in my, might not be specifically in my notes, but I remember being like, it seems like they're waiting for Jeff a couple times to like figure out what he's doing or to get on the same page with them, and that now
oddly
makes sense
enough, though,
hearing
I
this.
thought it was kind of one of his better AEW outings because I thought
I didn't mind it either.
He's looked pretty bad in other ones.
Right.
I thought.
Yeah. That is it for me for news. Do you have anything else?
I've saved the least interesting for last. Is we have 2 main roster WWE news pieces.
Exciting! I don't know anything, so go ahead.
Madcap Moss got repackaged, and he's just
of course.
basically just he had a generic entrance in black trunks. So it's basically just completely stripping him down. I'd hardly call it a repackage. I'd more call it a
depackage.
Depackaging, yeah.
Yeah.
And so
he's a young boy now. He just has black trunks.
Him versus Corbin in a holds barred match has been added to Hell in a Cell.
Well,
so.
Why not just run it back again, right?
Yep. Because we totally watched that match last time.
Right.
I don't even think we did.
I don't think we got that far.
And Ronda Rousey's next title challenger has been revealed. The winner of the six-pack challenge. You want to guess who it is?
No.
Someone pretty interesting.
Who?
Natalia.
Oh my God! I honestly forgot Rousey had a title too. So
let me say in that match was Shayna Baszler, who is good and has history with Rousey. So naturally, you pick Natalia.
And our only WWE product we're watching now is NXT UK, right? That's the last thing. Otherwise, we're pretty much out on WWE altogether.
That's true.
Which is fine.
I mean, we'll probably watch Hell in a Cell, but like, is that even a guarantee at this point?
Well, we'll start it, and then we'll see where we get from there, right?
We will start it. It'll be like when we used to watch Raw. We'll start it,
and then tap out.
We'll watch as much as we want to, and then
which was usually 20 to 30 minutes, and we'd be like, nope, I'm out.
To be fair, with Raw, it was more like, what's your threshold? With the pay-per-view, like last time, it was more just like it's almost late. This is boring.
Right. We've seen these matches 3 times.
Yeah.
Type
WrestleMania rematches, right? So yeah. Yeah, that sucks.
And that's it for news from you and me.
All
right, well, let's transition into something a little bit different. We will tackle the most recent AEW pay-per-view that we didn't do a special episode for. So we're going to take I don't know, I was going to say quick, but it might not be that quick. We're going to take a look at Double or Nothing. So this was a very long pay-per-view, and
there's like 12 matches or something.
And we didn't even watch the buy-in, I guess they call it, which was Hookhausen won as predicted.
Yeah.
So I didn't really see that at all, but yeah,
I will pull that up.
So this show was incredibly long. I got really tired about the Deeb Thunder Rosa match. My notes...
Not like their fault.
No, not their fault. Really like that match. But my notes may get a little more sparse as we go. But anyways, we'll get started. So the opening...
will find our predictions as you are talking.
The opening match, which I was a little bit surprised. They went with MJF versus Wardlow. Obviously with Wardlow looking to escape the contract of MJF and get a contract with AEW. This storyline's been going on, I mean, almost for a couple years at this point. Really, really slowly, right? Just those breadcrumbs of looks between...
Such as Hangman and Omega.
Right. So a really long, really well-built feud leading to this match.
Yeah, for sure.
So early on, MJF is doing the classic heel, escaping the ring. I think it's who used to do that. Larry Zbyszko, I believe, was one of the ones that would escape the ring constantly.
That is a deep pull.
Right? So he's taunting the crowd several times as it gets started.
Oddly enough, I have a Larry Zbyszko figure.
Wardlow goes for a powerbomb right away. MJF resorts to biting his head and then poking Wardlow in the eye. We get a powerbomb that, again, is countered by MJF, and he's sort of selling a leg injury here. Obviously faking it because he's trying to get out the, what's it called? The diamond ring. What's the proper name for it?
The Dynamite diamond ring.
Dynamite diamond ring, but he gets caught by the referee and it gets confiscated. So then he's sort of begging Wardlow here. He's offering him like double, quadruple his salary or something. So they end up shaking hands. Looks like they have a deal, but Wardlow doesn't release. Then we get powerbomb number 1 and then another and another and another. He covers MJF with his foot after whatever it was, 4 or 5, but then pulls back at a 2 count. We get 2 more power bombs, and Wardlow starts doing the Shawn Spears 10 gesture to the crowd, right? And then quickly hits 3 more power bombs. The 10th one, the final, is with the straps down as well. And Wardlow pins MJF with his foot on his chest. wins in, I think, what was about 8 minutes here, and MJF is taken out on a stretcher. I believe they put a collar on his neck and the whole deal. I don't know, like this, I guess this was the logical conclusion to this, right? Because everything was sort of
Yeah, no,
setting up
it
to
definitely made
Wardlow.
sense. It was just really odd for sure, but I liked it for what it was. 'Cause
Yes,
I think it made sense. I didn't really expect a super drawn out MJF match like usual. I think it's an odd choice for an opener.
just because it was so quick
Yeah,
and
but
one-sided, right?
I think they did it well. Like I think this is what it was. It should have been. Like Wardlow was always gonna kind of
Right.
demolish him. I think MJF got a decent amount in for what he should have gotten. I think, and I think it worked, and it was the payoff we expected, but not necessarily in a bad way. We both
Right.
called it, of course. So I liked it for what it was. An odd choice for a pay-per-view opener, but I think it was still well done.
And I like the AEW went, yes, everybody assumes Wardlow's going to win, but that doesn't mean you need to swerve us.
Yeah,
right?
it's not going to be an unnecessary swerve.
So I expected Wardlow to win. I even thought he would win decisively, but I didn't expect what was essentially a complete squash, right?
Right, I don't really remember much of what MJF did.
And he basically bit his head and poked him in the eye, and that was about it. So this is going to do a lot for Wardlow, but if I'm going to nitpick it, and when we get to Dynamite, I noted that they do not mention this at all. MJF is completely done and moved on to something else.
Right, and I would even say this could also fuel MJF's anger on Dynamite, but it is pretty much ignored, yeah.
My only complaint is, as someone who has watched other matches with MJF, what does it say about all of the people that have either lost to MJF or even had a competitive match and beaten MJF?
One of them was Darby Allin.
So it should be like, are you telling me based off of that transitive property, right? Wardlow should be steamrolling everybody all the way to the title.
Right, yeah.
Because he just squashed MJF, who has beaten good wrestlers or who has gone toe to toe with good wrestlers. So unless you're going to just push Wardlow to the moon, which they might be doing, right?
It is.
So I don't know.
Although I feel like if I get that, and I think, but also like then if you're nitpicking that also opens up like so many other like.
Yes.
But yeah, that's fair.
But if Wardlow is so much greater than MJF, he's got to be a lot greater than the people MJF can beat, right? But again, MJF cheats all the time. Anyways,
which they didn't allow here also.
Right. I'm probably thinking too deeply about it, but yes, an appropriate match. I thought I really didn't have any issues with it. I don't know if it would have been my choice for an opener, but yeah, it made sense in the scheme of the story they were telling. Then we get a quick package recapping the Hardy and Young Bucks situation ahead of their match, and it is the Young Bucks taking on the Hardy brothers now. Is that correct? They're not the Hardy boys.
They're just it's like what they did in their 2007 WWE run, I think, or something. It was like they're just the Hardys, not the Hardy Boys anymore.
Right. And Caprice Coleman joins commentary. I do like the job that he does. He's there because both of these teams were in Ring of Honor. They faced
actually
each other.
The Hardys' last non-WWE match before
they faced each other in Ring of Honor, right? So
yeah.
I guess it makes sense that he's there. So we get the Elite and Delete hand gesture battle to start as the older brothers start out.
The Elite have a hand gesture? What? Too sweet?
They were doing some sort of like they do an E or something. I think.
No, okay, I get it now.
And then the Mats battle to a stalemate, and the younger brothers tag in. Nick Jackson mocks Jeff Hardy's dancing a little bit, and then the Hardys
which he's good at.
The Hardys a little bit later mock the Bucks like double bicep pose that they do,
which they didn't do. I find it funny because I thought Nick Jackson mocked the Jeff Hardy really well.
He did,
and then they kind of didn't do the Bucks thing right, like where they should be facing opposite.
Right,
they should be leaning opposite ways, and dum-dums couldn't do it.
Details, eh? The crowd is chanting for Brandon Cutler at one point, and Nick Jackson doesn't really like that, so I don't know if that's teasing anything or he was just sort of working with what the crowd was giving him.
Did you see when they mocked the Hardys, did you see he dressed up as Lita?
Yeah.
With like the thong sticking out or whatever?
Yeah,
that was really
funny. Poetry in Motion is met with a vicious Nick Jackson kick.
That was
instead.
Awesome.
Looked great. And then Matt Hardy has Matt Jackson up for a razor's edge, but gets hit with a nice super kick from Nick Jackson. Jeff Hardy gets isolated for a while. Cutler pulls Matt off the apron so Jeff can't tag out when he does finally get a chance. Nick then misses a whisper in the wind, and Jeff, I put eventually, because this is one of the times where it felt like he was a little bit slow to do what he needed to do. Excuse me. But he ends up hitting his own whisper in the wind before finally tagging out to Matt.
Which that just always requires so much setup. It's like one of those moves that you could complain about, where it's like they always have to stand there. It's like it looks like they're waiting
And
for
what
it.
does the twisting and stuff add? Why don't you just jump off and kick him in the face or something?
Right.
Anyways,
And sometimes he actually accidentally does kick people in the face.
he
with that.
does. Matt Hardy takes out both of the Bucks and Cutler before hitting a nice side effect to Nick Jackson. Jeff is super kicked onto both of the mats out on the floor. We get a flipping senton off the top to the floor by Nick Jackson. And now we have Matt Hardy is isolated by the Young Bucks. Nick hits his brother with a knee accidentally, and then also accidentally just smokes Brandon Cutler with the kick to the face.
I feel like they've done that before too, and it looks awesome every time.
It did look good. Side effect to Matt Jackson on the apron after Nick's taken out by a diving Jeff Hardy. Double stomp by Nick to Matt Hardy over Matt Jackson's knees. Jeff misses a swanton, gets hit with a twist of fate by Nick Jackson for a 2 count. The Bucks miss a BTE trigger, but then hit double super kicks to each of the Hardy boys. Repeated super kicks to the kneeling Hardys after Matt is sort of defiant and calling them on.
Yeah, they keep getting up, which is kind of dumb.
Yeah. They continue their defiance, each take a double super kick, but still kick out of that pinfall attempt. Cutler then sets up the ring steps on their side, outside of the ring. We get what they called a BT bomb by Matt Hardy. I don't even remember what that was. I just wrote down what they said. And Jeff puts Matt Jackson on the steps and hits a swanton. Then we get a twist of fate by Matt Hardy to Nick in the ring for a near fall. Second twist of fate to Nick. Jeff goes up top, hits the swanton for the win in this match. I did not write down how long it took, but I don't know. I thought it was a pretty good tag team match. The Bucks definitely weren't working their fastest pace in this, and I think that's likely going to help out the Hardys, right? Who I don't think at this point can keep up. And
no,
this is where my note, and it makes more sense now. It seemed like Jeff needed to catch his breath or pause for a few seconds a couple times. So now, in hindsight, knowing that he was in fact injured, that makes a lot of sense. I still thought
I thought he was like intoxicated.
Well, that's always a possibility with him, right? Unfortunately. Still, everybody worked really hard to put on an entertaining match. They're stealing each other's poses and moves was interesting, right? But really none of the really exciting spots from the Bucks, right? Like it definitely was the Bucks toning things down, maybe just due to the age of the Hardys and if Jeff was not at full capacity. Mm-hmm. So definitely not their greatest match. Their kicks looked really good as they always do. I mean, considering neither of us really wanted this match or loved the Hardys, I think it was about as good as we could have hoped for. I'm not trying to say it was a great match, but
no, I didn't love it.
It was a good tag match.
I ended up coming out of it like not at odds with it. Like it was okay, and I think the Bucks toned it down for sure, but they were still good. And I think they definitely carried it as they probably had to.
Yes.
Even if Jeff was 100%, I think they would have to.
I don't love the Bucks taking the clean loss. It's not a huge deal.
I don't love that either.
But
I think the Bucks should have won. So I don't really see this prolonging. So it's not like they're going to get their win back. Not that they have to, but
I think we might get another one of these.
Yeah, but I don't see it happening for a while. So that's I kind of wish they just had one and then it's like a one and done. Because I don't really need this again.
Right.
But it was okay. I guess like I again didn't want it, but not complaining about it.
No, it wasn't bad.
It was okay. It was there. Like you said, about as good as you could hope for, I guess.
Yep.
Considering you didn't want it.
Then we get a really strange. I didn't write any details, but do you remember the Gun Club Acclaimed video?
Yeah. Weekend vlogs with Billy Gunn.
It was pretty odd little package there, but I guess they're now affiliated because Bowens is out again, unfortunately, with a serious injury.
I don't remember him being out before.
So I guess it's giving Caster something to do. Bowens was out not long ago.
Was he?
I feel like he hasn't been back that long. I could be wrong.
I don't remember him ever being injured.
Really?
Nope.
I think he was.
I don't remember.
I could be wrong.
I could be wrong.
We then get, I think we could safely say, easily the worst match on this card and did not belong on a page. So here's part of my issue. I've seen accounts where Tony Khan, because Game 7 of the Eastern Conference NBA Finals was on, he was determined to make sure the main event was on after that game finished. So that's why there's a bunch of filler in this show that probably should have been on the buy-in or not at all, right? And this would be
that makes sense.
A nominee to get off of this main card for me really quickly.
Okay.
And that's Jade Cargill taking on Anna Jay. Jade is defending the TBS championship here. So I like Jade Cargill, especially her character and mic work, but in the ring, I think it's clear that neither of these women were good enough to carry this match.
No,
right?
Definitely not.
So anyways.
Well, Cargill physically could, but...
A few details from it.
At?
Jade does catch Anna Jay at one point, hits a fall-away slam, and then That was following a little bit of a flurry from Anna Jay early on. We get a snap suplex and a stiff clothesline from Jade. Then there is some awkwardness between the two, and eventually leads to a superplex by Anna Jay. Things are really slow and awkward, and Jay hits an odd-looking sort of blockbuster, I guess, that we didn't think looked super great. So then add to the fact that this isn't a great match. There's all kinds of people coming down and getting involved, right? So Kiera Hogan and Red Velvet show up, and they get double DDT'd on the floor by Anna Jay. The Jaded gets countered into roll up by Jay, and then she hits a super kick. So then Mark Sterling comes down. He I think he distracted the ref and sent one of his crutches into the ring, right? But it ends up in the hands of Anna Jay, and she uses it instead of Jade Cargill and gets a near fall from using the crutch. Then John Silver comes down, and he hits a brainbuster to Sterling that actually looked pretty good. And then we get the Eye of the Storm by Cargill. I thought looked really good.
The Islands.
Yeah, it looked really good.
I like that name too, though. Actually.
Yep. And Anna Jay then counters Jaded into a Queenslayer. I thought that was a pretty rough spot. I didn't think it looked very good either.
Oh, right. That was really weird, yes.
And then Stokely Hathaway, because enough people haven't run down yet, he makes a surprise appearance. Anna Jay is distracted. We get an Avalanche Jaded. I put kind of. It still looked good, but I don't think it was like the cleanest Jaded. It was still an Avalanche, so it looked pretty cool.
No, because she was just standing there for a while. It did not.
She
look
was.
Cool.
And Jade wins this, I would say, rough match in about 7 minutes. So Stokely Hathaway is with Jade and the baddies, and Statlander runs down. She gets nose-to-nose with Red Velvet, and then we get a debut. It is Athena showing up, formerly known as Ember Moon in NXT. She shows up to sort of even the odds as there's a standoff here, I guess, foreshadowing some sort of involvement by all of these women.
What's your computer at?
My computer is at about half. What are you at?
We're
sharing
9%.
We're sharing a power cord, so you better take it for a little bit.
Yeah.
This match was a mess. I think the vast majority of it. It
was very messy, to a fault.
I put that they seem to have anti-chemistry, which isn't nice, but that's what it kind of looked like to me. Neither woman can carry a match of this magnitude. There were several stretches that were just kind of awkward and what I would call clunky. Then you're a whole bunch of run-ins and shenanigans, and you have the worst, I think one of the worst AEW pay-per-view matches I can remember, to be honest, because they usually...
Yeah, I don't remember generally disliking pay-per-view matches.
Yes, so this one was not good. I am happy to see Athena there and Stokely Hathaway because that's what I wanted.
Did we mention that's Malcolm Bivens?
Right, Malcolm Bivens, which I was hoping would join, right, and basically do Hurt Business with women in AEW, with Hathaway playing the MVP role, which is kind of looks like what we're getting. So it's what I was hoping for. But yeah, I thought this was a dud of a match. You?
Yeah, I didn't like it. It was just the anti-chemistry is very visible, like you said. There's just a lot of messy stuff here, some stuff not even quite botches, but just a lot of it was so messy. Just some stuff didn't quite hit right, and even the finish, it was just Jay just looked so stupid standing there for a solid 5 seconds at least. It just didn't look good, and it just didn't feel like pay-per-view worthy. Even before the match started, I didn't need to see this here. I'm fine with the debuts. I like Ember Moon. She's pretty good. Hathaway's cool.
He is.
I think
good.
It's kind of very wrestling to do all the people of color there, but I don't know. It could be good, so I'm not gonna go with that too much. So those are interesting, but I don't really think that warranted this here.
A rough match with just so many moving parts and so many people involved, right? Was not my favorite at all. We then get a quick Forbidden Door video, and the next match is Death Triangle taking on House of Black. So House of Black all come out in face paint. I thought they looked pretty cool.
Yeah, it looked really nice.
Face paint expert.
Yeah.
It helps Buddy Murphy, right, to sort of fit in a bit more with the other two, I find.
Yeah, he's no
Matthews.
Tattoos.
Right, so the face paint helped him, I think.
Yeah, I think Black looked kind of creepy, actually. He looked cool.
Yeah. So we get some quickness and strikes as Black and Phoenix start out. They both dodge each other's spinning kicks, and then Buddy ends up tagging in. So Matthews and Penta with an impressive sequence involving a whole bunch of kicks. Pac, it's going to be hard to take detailed notes on this one because it was just a mile a minute, this one. Pac and Brody King tag in. Pac gets sent to the floor. King hits a nice forearm to Phoenix coming off the ropes. I love Brody King's forearms. All six are brawling at one point. And then my notes literally say, things get crazy. I can't keep up. Sweet Poison Rana and a big clothesline to Matthews. Huge spinning side slam by Brody King to Pac. Slingshot senton by Matthews. Brody King misses a pretty devastating looking cannonball attempt, and Pac finally tags in Phoenix as they'd been sort of working over Pac for a bit. Phoenix makes Black powerbomb Matthews before the Lucha Brothers dive to the outside. Brody King kicks out of a triple team. I think it was a code red onto him and then a moonsault at the same time, if I remember correctly. Matthews counters a suicide dive into a suplex on the floor. I think that was the one he was supposed to catch him, right? And he didn't quite catch him cleanly.
Right.
He kind of had
Yeah.
to take to it and grab him and suplex him. I mean, it's a really hard catch to try and catch somebody in like a vertical suplex position, so I don't blame them. I appreciate them trying it at least. People hit moonsaults and things to the floor before Brody King. Remember when he tried to dive over the ropes?
Oh yeah, he almost killed himself.
Yeah, he clipped the ropes, I think, and ended up coming down hard on the apron than the floor, so not the cleanest of the big man flying through the air. Buddy Matthews throws Phoenix to King, who immediately hits a nasty-looking Dante's Inferno. That looked sick.
That was pretty gnarly. Like,
It was.
talk about spiking him.
It was awesome. JR, at this point, I noted, is clearly mad about the referee's lack of control, and instead of just not saying anything and letting us enjoy, he has to point it out, right? Like, he just can't not say, the refs have lost control of this. Like, why are you drawing attention to that, man? That's not helping the product in any way, I don't think.
Right.
But anyways, the heels are in every corner now getting kicked. Pac hits a brainbuster to Malachi Black. We get Destroyer to Matthews on the apron and off of Phoenix's back. Stomp into a DDT on the floor by the Lucha Brothers. So that has Malachi alone in the ring getting kicked. We get a Black Mass. Does that have a name in AEW right now?
I don't know.
So
I don't think so, but I'm going to call it Black Mass.
He hits it on Penta and Phoenix. We get a 450 by Pac to Malachi Black. We get a kick low by Pac. He sets up for the Black Arrow, and the lights go out. Julia Hart, when the lights come on, is there, and she spits mist into Pac's face, signaling that she is officially going to be in House of Black, I guess. We get the Black Mass to Pac, and this match is over in 15 minutes, about. I think this is my favorite match on this show. I think it might have been match of the night for me.
It one-upped their buy-in effort.
Yes, this was crazy. It was pretty much what I expected. All of these guys are fantastic. I was thoroughly entertained by this crazy action all over the place. Not everything was clean, as we pointed out, but they were trying to do so much, and everything else looked so good that it's not a big deal if they're trying really ambitious things and they're not perfect, right? It's bound to happen. I enjoyed every combination of these guys. Julia Hart coming back makes sense. It's not my favorite finish to the match.
I was right in predicting some shenanigans.
It doesn't upset me really, but it protects Pac.
I'm not thrilled, but
it protects Pac and Death Triangle.
Yeah, I
bit,
figured
right?
they would do something, so I kind of should have seen that coming. But
and so I thought this match was just a ton of fun, and I honestly at this point I really needed it after the Cargill Anna Jay match. I needed something to get me back into this. Might have been my match of the night, at least in the top 3 matches on this show for me. I thought it was great. What about you?
Sure. Yeah, it was really fun. A lot of stuff going on. It's a really great collection of talent there. I love pretty much all of them. Maybe not Brody King, 'cause I've seen him the least, but I even like him. Like, for what I've seen, I think all of them are really great. I think it's a great combination. House of Black looked great with the face paint, gives them a bit more of a
very
united look too, 'cause like it's all the same.
Right.
And I find it interesting, like Pac had like a black with hints of white, and then you got all black Penta, white Phoenix. That was kind of interesting. But yeah, so they only have, what, like you said, 15 minutes. They crammed a lot into here, like in a good way too. Like,
yes.
they did a lot. They accomplished a lot. Some of it wasn't the cleanest, but like they did a lot, so you can't really fault it too much. I think they bettered on the effort with Eric Redbeard from the Revolution buy-in.
That match was great too.
Yeah, and that one was great. So this one was even better. The finish is fine and makes sense. I'm okay with that. In general, I think like a really great use of not a super long time. And definitely one of the best matches on the show, and it looks better coming after the TBS match.
For sure. Yeah, I quite enjoyed it. We then move into the first of 2 Owen Hart tournament finals, and that is the men's one where Adam Cole is taking on Samoa Joe. So we get Joe with a series of punches.
And Cole's wearing like all pink, which I think looks really cool.
Right, and it was kind of, I feel like, telegraphing things. So he was, but that's fine. It doesn't really bother me. So series of punches from Joe in the corner. Once they do finally get started, as I think there was a lot of them like trash talking each other and standing in the middle before they started. We get an Irish rip, back elbow enziguri combination, classic Samoa Joe. He is in control early with some methodical offense here. Super kick on the floor eventually shifts the momentum to Cole, and he runs Joe into the ring post. He starts working a lot on Joe's injured shoulder here. Joe ends up countering the Panama Sunrise into something commentary or myself couldn't name. I don't even remember what it was. That's what my
Was that
note
when he
says.
dropped him on his shoulder, I
And
think?
yeah, they couldn't. They offered no explanation
That's
of
like
what
a
the
gut
move
buster,
was.
but I couldn't tell.
Right.
Also, I hate when they call it the Pittsburgh Sunrise. That's just not right.
And then Joe hits his classic STO out of the corner as he tends to do. Atomic drop, boot, and the senton by Joe. I like his senton. Like, it looks like it hurts more than some guy's top rope.
Oh yeah, because he just jumps and falls on him.
And he's just a big boy too. Nice power slam by Joe. The boom is countered with a big clothesline from Joe. Sure. Cole then fights out of the muscle buster and hits a high kick for a 2 count. Excalibur, this match, there was some the pace wasn't super fast here, and so Excalibur explains it away by saying like they're feeling each other out kind of thing. The pace didn't bother me. It's just
terrible
wasn't
phrase.
like lightning fast. Power bomb into an STF by Joe, but Cole gets to the ropes. Bobby Fish, or as my notes say, Bobby Dish shows up.
Yep.
Which I didn't feel that was really necessary, but anyways.
Also thought it was odd. It was just Bobby Fish, and also why Bobby Fish? I guess because okay, never mind. Bobby Fish is the only member of the group not wrestling,
not doing something, right? So he snaps Joe's
basically
arm.
He's a loser.
Over the top rope. Joe ends up ducking the boom, knocks Bobby Fish off the rope, defiantly takes several super kicks, but then Adam Cole does hit the boom and defeats
I'd like
Samoa
to say the
Joe.
boom is a terrible name for that move, and I hate it every time they say it.
Adam Cole wins, not surprisingly. I think we probably both picked that one after
I know I did, and I'm pretty sure you did too.
14 minutes. I thought this was a pretty good match, but I was hoping for an excellent one. Vastly different pace, right, from the car crash that came before it, which I think is a good thing, right?
Yeah.
They're sort of shifting gears. We're getting different match types.
No, it doesn't have to be the same.
Different paces. So yeah, I was hoping for even better than this, but I can't complain about it. I figured Cole would win. It feels to me like Samoa Joe's kind of like ROH bound, maybe. I don't think he needed to win here. So I would say like a good match, but not amazing. What about you?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good, and a change of pace, right, which I think is good because you kind of got to pace him out differently.
Yes.
And like, slower pace, but not like the TBS match where it's like bad or boring. Like I think this was good.
It was.
Wasn't boring. I think it was fitting of their two sides. I think it was pretty good. Like I think it kind of, in a way, is paying off the bit of attention they had in NXT when Joe was the general manager and Forcer. So that's kind of a
right
ending to that in a way. And yeah, Joe is definitely occupied with other things, and
right.
I think it makes sense for Cole. It's pretty cool. And the last shot he hit at the end looked a little weird, but it was still fine. Pretty good match, and right guy won for sure.
Yep. And then so once he won, I figured we knew what was going to happen in the next match, and that is the tournament finals for the women, and that's Britt Baker taking on Ruby Soho. They played a bit of a video package before the match, and Rebel and Hater are head to the back after kind of coming out with Britt Baker. They don't stay, so they're gone to the back to keep this fair, I guess. We get what was it? Jericho's guitarist, Fozzie's guitar plays Britt's song, which
is not very noticeable.
It looked weird because it's just like it looked like he was guitar lip syncing, for lack of a better term, right? Maybe he was actually playing, but I don't know.
And I could kind of tell it parts, but like it's not super noticeable.
And then Rancid played Ruby Soho's theme, like the whole song. I thought they sounded pretty good.
Yeah, they sound pretty good. Like one of the better live music AEW entrances, because some of them they're pretty hit or miss, but I think this one was actually like pretty good.
Right. So let's see what's going on here. Baker early on was looking to work Ruby Soho's arm and ribs, and then just some strike exchanges and stuff. Soho is grabbing her ribs and sort of selling that as we go. She hits a top rope senton for a near fall, still selling the ribs. Baker hits a stomp for a near fall after landing on the top turnbuckle chest first. Baker then gets her glove out, trying to set up for the lockjaw, but Ruby's able to counter it a couple times, the second time into a pinfall attempt, and then she hits the no future before locking Baker in a sharpshooter. Obviously,
what was the no future again?
Tribute to Owen Hart, isn't it? That the kick thing, the eat defeat. Is that what?
No,
it
it's not. It used to be the riot kick.
Yes, I think so. Sorry, you're right. Baker's able to break out of the sharpshooter, crawling to the ropes. Ruby goes for a victory roll to get the pinfall. Baker reverses it into a pin of her own for the win. I thought this was fine, like a good match. I don't know if it was an amazing pay-per-view match or anything, but I'm not sure how good Ruby Soho is. Like the more we see her, the
I think
more I'm
she's
like, I
okay.
think I overrated her at some point, and now I'm like, she's okay, but she doesn't look like she's a top
Yeah, no, I
tier
remember you
woman.
said, I'm pretty sure I agreed, like when she came in, like you're like, oh yeah, she's pretty good, and like it should be good, and like she's all right, like she's a solid hand, I guess, but like I don't know, she's just not like she's in between like the ones who suck and the ones who are pretty good.
I think you're right. She's like not in the obviously enhancement category, but she's not the top tier of like Sheeta and Baker and Deeb and Rosa for me. And I'm hoping
Right.
Ember Moon now.
Yeah, and I think it was kind of funny because I think her and Joe wore green,
Yes.
and Baker and Cole had pink.
Right. So I mean, I think this match was good. Did it feel like a major pay-per-view match to me? Not really.
No, not one of Baker's strong settings.
But it
either.
wasn't bad. So then that obviously has the couple of Britt Baker and Adam Cole as the champions of the Owen Hart tournament.
With their big fat square belts.
Yes, they do get presented. I don't know when that happened, but they do get presented.
After the match.
It was. I thought that felt like something that could have waited. On a really long pay-per-view, you could have done that on Dynamite for me, right? Like,
yeah.
Not that it wasn't
maybe
a
I
nice
would've
touch
watched
or
it.
whatever, but it was quite lengthy, and it just added to an already lengthy pay-per-view. But again, they were trying to draw it out to have the main event not be during the basketball game, so I think that was their goal.
Yeah.
We then moved to another match that, in my opinion, was filler and did not need to be on this show, and that was Scorpio Sky, Ethan Page, and Paige Van Sant, American's Top Team or whatever, Men of the Year combination.
They used their theme, yay.
Taking on Sammy Guevara, Frankie Kazarian, and Tay Conti. So, first of all, Kazarian just being quickly like turning or whatever and added to this group didn't really make a ton of sense.
It was Rampage, which explains why we didn't see it.
And Paige Van Zant, who they were promoting a while ago, then they just kind of forgot all about her, right? And didn't really deal much with her at all, and then brought her back for this. So I don't know why we needed this, not on the buy-in or not on TV.
I would even be fine, like, if you take out the... No, not to be whatever, but
it feels a lot like a TV match.
Yeah, and not to be whatever, but I'd be fine if you stuck it on here without the women. Like, yeah, not to be whatever, but...
I don't know. Guevara early on hits a springboard cutter, and then there's some double teaming.
As he does.
With him and Conti. I think they hit a double suplex to whoever it was.
Oh, and they came out with... they had taken some... American Top Team UFC belts and stuff.
Oh,
they
right.
Came out with those.
Right. So there was Paige Van Zant was not involved in this, right? At all, very much, and so she gets knocked off the apron at one point, so she can't tag in. So Kazarian and Guevara, they're having issues not getting along together, right? Because Guevara was just super like mugging for the crowd and just showboating more than he usually does, even. And Kazarian obviously wanted him to focus on the match. So they're like, that's one of the things that bugged me. You seem to like have shoehorned Kazarian into joining them, and then he's already having problems with them right off the get-go.
I think it was like
warp speed relationship for
yeah,
these guys.
I think it was because it's like enemy of my enemy is...
Right, but then it didn't work out, which I guess is possible. But Van Zant finally makes the tag.
Can they coexist?
She throws Tay Conti around a little bit. Guevara has to make the save. Van Zant hits Guevara with a punch to the stomach and then a tilt-a-whirl DDT.
The feared MMA stomach punch, a year after the Cody Ogogo match.
So as these things tend to happen, right, where the women end up hitting offense on the men, but the men do not return that favor ever in these.
Yep.
So they face off in the center of the ring. Kazarian then refuses to work with Guevara, but he does end up tagging himself in. And then a little bit later, Guevara accidentally super kicks Tay Conti, right? I almost forgot about that.
Pretty hard, too.
It did look pretty good, and that leads Scorpio Sky to hit a cutter on Kazarian for the win, because even though I
TKO.
Yeah, sorry, that's right. I thought that was weird too, like, Kazarian leaves, like he's going to abandon them, but then he's there back for the bat and sort of takes the pin too. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I wasn't really a fan of this. I thought it was, like, okay, but nothing amazing, obviously, and just kind of like, it doesn't feel like it needs to be on this show. And Sammy, I thought, was just an idiot in this match. I found him very annoying. He was like suddenly significantly dumber than he was just a few days ago on Dynamite,
Aren't the
right?
baby faces supposed to be dumb? Like,
And that's the other problem here is I don't think they ever planned on Men of the Year and America's Top Team being baby faces, but everyone just hated Guevara and Conti so
well, and then
much.
it's also weird because they did Sky's kind of heel turn on Kaz before this match, so it's not even like because you know how Sky was kind of baby
Right.
facing to win the title,
Yes.
and then they heel turned him before this match, so that doesn't even make sense because then now like
You're
they're
right.
kind of scrubbed of their baby faceness if there was any.
Right. And then so there was some good action in this, and I don't think Paige Van Sant like she didn't embarrass herself. She didn't look like a natural. I think she wasn't bad. And again, Kazarian's inclusion seemed random. And again, this does not need to be on the pay-per-view. This is easily a TV match, if that. So I was not impressed with this. You?
Yeah, I don't even remember much from this. Like it wasn't like bad, it wasn't great, it just wasn't memorable and wasn't worth my time. Again, I didn't care for Paige Van Zandt's involvement. I can't say I remember what she did.
Yeah.
Conti, same can be said. I don't remember what she
He
did
didn't
other
do
than take
much.
the super kick.
Right.
Guevara was dumber than usual, which is not typically how heels work. Typically, they're smarter than the baby faces, which were nowhere to be found here.
That's true too. Where were the baby faces here?
I would say my highlight of this match was Men of the Year using their theme song.
Nice. Then I found this is where this pay-per-view really picked up for me, and from here on out is really strong. And that's moving into a match that kind of came out of nowhere, and that would be my main criticism, and that's Darby Allin taking on Kyle O'Reilly, right? Like this was just kind of added on.
Like a couple days before, I think.
Again, feels like filler, like we need to stretch this out.
Yeah, this one probably felt like, even though I liked it other than the other film more than the other filler matches, I would say it felt the most filler.
I just enjoy like the contrast here. You have this super technician, right, against like the Daredevil. So
Right.
that's a cool idea right off the bat. So O'Reilly starts out strong, attacks Allen with some strikes on the ground, and Allen gets busted open here. I think they said it was from a knee. I can't remember exactly.
That would make sense.
So Allen comes back, attacks O'Reilly's leg, hits a reverse DDT, a few more moves, including his code red and a dive to the outside where he landed really awkwardly. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, it looked like he died. It
I
was one
was
of the things where it
concerned.
looks like he died.
And you're just like, okay, he got up. Maybe he's okay. He does a suicide dive seconds later, but O'Reilly kind of catches him directly into a guillotine that looked pretty cool. The momentum swings. We get a coffin drop onto O'Reilly as he's hanging off the ropes above the ring apron. He goes for another coffin drop in the ring, but O'Reilly catches him in a choke that he transitions quickly into an armbar. He then eventually, O'Reilly gets the win with his King Kong knee drop to the back from the top rope.
Why is it King Kong?
I don't know. I think they've heard them call it that before.
Really? I
So
thought it was Mox had the King Kong lariat.
I don't know. I've heard them say that, but I could be wrong. So for me, I mean, I really enjoyed. I was first of all really surprised to see O'Reilly take the win.
Yeah,
I would
we
not have
both
predicted
picked Darby.
I thought he looked really great in this. His strikes look real. His submissions and transmissions are always just so smooth and impressive. He's just a technical star, man. And then Darby gets his cool spots and some reckless offense as well. Again, I just wish this had a story and some stakes to it, but I thought this was a really good match nonetheless. I quite enjoyed this. You?
Yeah, I liked it. It was a good little match. I liked the contrast, like you said, with O'Reilly and Darby, and I really liked when he caught the second suicide dive into the guillotine. I thought that was pretty cool. Again, surprised he got the win, but I think that's good for him. And Darby,
I do too. I'm
Darby
happy
can
for
take
him.
the loss, as it was a pretty one-off match too, or like random at least. So that was cool, and Darby didn't die. So
Darby's one of those guys. Losses don't really seem to hurt him,
No.
right? That much. It's not really a huge deal, and it doesn't feel like he needs championships either, which might not be great.
And he already had one, so
right.
And I think they could always go back to the TNT title for him one day, but I don't think like that's necessary.
No, he doesn't need a belt. He's just as popular without one.
Though I could see him being interesting in the trios division.
Yes, for sure. We then get a Serena Deeb Thunder Rosa package ahead of their match, and it is for the AEW Women's Championship. Serena Deeb challenging, Thunder Rosa defending. So we get some just counter holds and counters to start, bunch of reversals and things. Thunder Rosa gets a pendulum submission early. Then we get Deeb uses a neck breaker over the ropes to sort of get momentum of this. Follows up with a swinging neck breaker inside the ring. Things start to build. We get counters, submission holds from everybody here. Thunder Rosa hits a stomp to Deeb as she was bent over and followed with a Death Valley driver for a near fall. But Deeb comes back with a chop block into a figure 4. That forces Thunder Rosa to roll out of the ring, and both women sort of fall to the floor. Deeb hits the Deeb Tox for it's hard to say, Deeb Tox.
I thought it's Detox.
I think it's Deeb Tox for a near fall as Rosa gets her foot on the bottom ropes. Deeb follows up with a power bomb and a clover leaf that Deeb manages to get out of. Rosa managed to get out of. She hits a superplex and the Fire Thunder driver for the pinfall a little bit later and retains the belt. I thought this was, like I said, I was sort of starting to fall asleep at parts, but I thought this was a really good match. It wasn't the match's fault. It was just a really long day and a long pay-per-view. I thought these two were really evenly matched throughout this. I went as far to say this is one of my favorite women's matches in AEW in quite some time.
Yeah, I think it was the opposite of the TBS match. I think these two had really good chemistry.
They really
I
did.
think they complement each other really well.
Which even makes that match look even weaker,
yeah.
Right? The Cargill J match.
And I think it benefits Rosa a lot because I think her reign hasn't been off to a great start because the promos are, and her one defense was against Nyla Rose that battled the belts too. So I think this definitely helps her a lot. Makes Deeb look good. Like she doesn't look too hurt by taking the loss, which I would have expected. So I'm not mad at the loss. I didn't like Rose's ring gear. I thought that looked really weird, but other than that, I didn't mind it. I think this is really good.
She auctioned it off for some cool cause too. I forget what it was. Yeah,
I mean, it sucks cool. It's kind of ugly, but I really like this. Yeah, it was good.
I think it drives home the point too that there's like a few women on a separate tier from the rest in this company,
you're not finding this.
These are two of them
with many other on the roster.
And I'm hoping that Athena can join that top tier, right, and get some quality matches.
I hope we're just not like pulling a Ruby Soho on her,
Right.
Which is going to become that's going to be the term.
Ruby Soho, where we're like, yeah, she's really good, and then like as we see more and more, go, no, she's not really.
She was good in NXT, so I mean, we'll see. I think I also did like her better than I liked Ruby Soho in WWE. Like I remember actually liking her.
Yes.
Before she lost to Shayna Baszler, I remember.
Right. Then we get to just the madness that is the Jericho Appreciation Society taking on.
This was hilarious.
Kingston, Santana, Ortiz, Danielson, and Moxley, and it's
Where
anarchy.
Half of the match was to Wild Thing.
Anarchy in the arena. Yeah,
it was awesome.
So they start playing Mox's entrance, or
right, and so they all enter to that like through the crowd, which is cool actually.
And then I joke about how they're just gonna play it on an infinite loop because you're like, wow, they're playing more of his theme than they usually do. And I said, oh, they're just gonna play it on an infinite loop for the whole match, and then they really looked like they were going to.
Yeah, they played like half of the match is playing out to Wild Thing.
It worked
until
somehow.
Like Jericho destroyed one of the, and I actually loved it. It was awesome.
Somehow Jericho knows exactly what device to grab. And
I actually loved it that they're just
too.
Like it was like I don't know how to. It's like almost like their version of like it's like the epic final battle in a movie playing out to the soundtrack.
Yeah,
like,
it worked.
So I really liked it. It was just like it sounded cool. Just like something about it was really cool, and it was really funny to me that they were like. It lasted so long.
This is a bizarre situation where this match is so many things I hate about wrestling, but I love this match. I don't understand. Yeah. So there's far too much going on for me to capture all of it for sure. Just chaos from the minute it started, right? You have 10 guys brawling all over the place, blood everywhere. Matt Menard is bleeding really badly early on.
Kingston had like gasoline at one point.
Moxley's bleeding a little bit into it too. We got... Hager was put through a couple tables with a street sweeper right to the outside.
Oh, that's right.
Garcia hit Ortiz with a pile driver on the ring steps that looked incredible, like stuck him with that. It looked amazing.
that was cool, yes.
Then they're sort of paired off, brawling through the crowd into the concession area. There's Mustard involved at one point. Moxley then goes to work on the ring, right? He takes the turnbuckle and detaches the top rope, uses it to crotch Jericho. While Kingston and Garcia are brawling like in a freight elevator at one point, right, in the arena. And then Moxley and Danielson are sort of paired with Jericho and Hager in the ring until Eddie Kingston just looks absolutely psychotic coming down to the ring with a can of gasoline, right? Like just looks, he's so good.
Yeah, like what Jerry can is what they call it.
Yes, he's so believable as whatever he's doing. So
he's just like covered in blood.
He dumps gasoline all over Jericho and Danielson actually, because he's there as well, right? So Danielson gets up, tries to stop Kingston because they obviously have some tension, even though they're supposed to be working together. Kingston's about to get a lighter and set these guys on fire, and Danielson has to step in. So then Kingston.
Yeah, they were actually getting into a bit. Like I was like, oh, they're actually kind of going at it.
They brawl a little bit until Jericho hits both of them with a chair, right? And then, of course, we get the barbed wire table or a board or whatever it is. And
it was a barbed wire board on a table.
Right, and so Moxley ends up going through that.
Or on it, because like I think the board doesn't break and it's on top of the table, so therefore the table did not break.
Right. Jericho hits Danielson with the turnbuckle sort of kit there, holding on to like the turnbuckle, hitting him with it for a 2 count. Danielson fights off Hager and Jericho until they're able to take him out.
It was like I think Hager had an ankle lock, and then Jericho was like choking him with the turnbuckle as he was in that. It was actually kind of
right. Then it was a half crab, and then
that's what it was.
Hager wrapped the top rope around Danielson's neck, right? And Danielson ends up passing out basically. So I know it sounds like we talked about a lot, but it's still really only a fraction of what happened.
Yeah, that was it was like a lot of it was just like brawling around, like a lot of not notable stuff.
So on paper, like I said, this was not a match for me. I haven't been a fan of Jericho Appreciation Society. I don't generally love extreme plunder matches. I complain about quick camera cuts sometimes. I complain about crowd brawling. And that being said, this match was just bananas, and I had a great time watching it. We talked about it while we were watching it. Like, people called that Johnny Knoxville match. That's fun. That's just the fun part of wrestling.
That was just stupid.
This was fun to me, right? Like, even though this was super bloody and violent, there was also fun here.
I got a huge kick out of them playing Wild Thing for half. Like, I thought that was absolutely hilarious.
So there was so much going on. It was hard to focus, but somehow that just added to the chaos of this match, right? The crazy camera cuts, stuff happening all over the place.
Right, and I didn't think this would match up to. I think this does kind of match up to the first Stadium Stampede. Last year's was okay, but the first Stadium Stampede, I remember that being really fun.
Yes,
kind of matches up to that.
And Eddie Kingston looked insane with the gas can. He had violence, blood, crazy spots. I was not expecting a ton of. I thought this might be a crazy match, whatever, but I really, really enjoyed
There was
this
the Stereo Dives by Prem Powerful.
Yes.
That was pretty cool.
And there's so many things about this I generally don't like in wrestling, but I thought this match was super fun. Again, it's in my top 3 matches on the show.
The finish was pretty brutal too. Like they're just like choking the crap out of Danielson, literally choking the life out of him. Like,
yes,
look, they were reefing on it too.
It looked like they were trying to murder him, basically.
Yeah,
right. So
they were already bloody, so it makes it look even like worse.
Thoroughly entertained, really surprised by how much I enjoyed this match. Again, in my top couple matches on this show.
Yeah, it over delivered for me. I think a lot. Like it was all over the place, and I think it kind of started out a little like a lot of brawling, but I think it ended up being like super fun. A lot of stuff going on. Like there was just so much to cover, and like you covered quite a bit there, but that's like just scratching the surface. Yeah, I thought it was hilarious that Mox's theme song was like it was funny, but I also loved it 'cause somehow. Like I would have been happy if that was playing the whole time. Like that would have been even funnier. Like
if you described it to me, I'd be like, that's stupid. But watching it, I was like, yeah, it works.
And like once he got in the ring, there was actually some pretty competent stuff, like some pretty cool stuff, and the finish like was brutal too. Like they were just choking the life out of Danielson. Like I think if that's how they're gonna win, that works. Like we didn't predict that, but I think it worked, and I loved it, and I think we're building the blood and guts now. I don't think that could match up, but I hope it does.
Like that's the problem, right? Where do you go from here? Like what's left to do, right? So they're gonna try, as we'll get to Dynamite and talk about what's coming up, but. Yeah, I don't know where they're going to go after this.
Mm-hmm.
So then, after that madness, we get into what would be the penultimate match of the night, and that is for the AEW Tag Team Championship, where we've got Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus defending against Team Taz, which is Starks and Hobbs. And say it, what's the team name?
Nope.
And this, usually AEW doesn't do this, but what was it? Swerve in his glory?
Swerve in our glory.
Swerve. No, I don't want to say that ever again. It's Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland. So right away, Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus hit stereo moonsaults to the outside on each of the teams. Then everybody gets involved. Lee catches Jungle Boy on a dive and power bombs him onto the back of Luchasaurus. Each team has moments of control here where they get to sort of do their trademark stuff and show you what they can do. And everybody looked pretty good here. Lee hit a big dive over the top rope to the outside.
Doing Keith Lee things again.
More cleanly than Brody King did. Luchasaurus at one point accidentally hits Jungle Boy with a kick, and it almost gives Lee and Swerve picking up the win, but Jungle Boy is able to fight through it. He and Luchasaurus eventually hit the Thoracic Express, not the cleanest one I've ever seen them hit, but they do hit that. Again, my notes are getting short here. There was a lot more going on than this. So they retain the titles, which I did not pick, but I'm pretty sure you did, but we'll get to the score sheet after. What did you think of this match?
I liked it again. I think I can safely say this three-way format pays off for them. Like, at least in the tag matches, I like, because I remember I really enjoyed the one with Bucks and Red Dragon. I still think I like that one more, obviously, because I think those are more supreme teams. I think, because these ones are pretty, like, at least Swerve and Lee are new.
And I would argue
refer to them as such.
Team Taz
They haven't gotten a lot of spotlight until now, which I mean, and they've been doing good with that for sure. I liked it. There's a lot to like here. Like a lot going on, and like there's a lot, but it's like more of a controlled mess. Unlike Anarchy in the Arena, and I think the champs retaining is a safe pick. Because I think the titles will get dropped to someone like more built up, but I really like this.
Me too. I thought this was a really good match as expected. I thought Lee and Swerve looked really good, and I think
I really like their tag finisher.
Yes, they make an intriguing tag team going forward, right?
Name aside, I hope they keep going with that team.
Yes, name aside for sure. I was hoping for a title change because I think Jurassic Express is it's been a bit of an underwhelming title reign for me.
But I really like their matches.
Me too. I keep saying that, but I enjoy every match. But it's just, I don't know they don't seem to need the titles to me.
No, but I think they've done well, and I do wish it was Lucha Bros involved instead, but
yes,
nonetheless.
So I really enjoyed this. It wasn't like a blowaway match, but highly entertaining match for sure. That leads us into our main event, although somewhere along the line, because I didn't make note of it, was a very cool segment, right, with Andrade, so I'm super happy with this.
So basically, right, he was ditching the awful losers, and he brought in a former friend, I guess, from probably CMLL or AAA, Roosh.
Which, I know you haven't seen a ton of Roosh. I was kind of at first, like, when I was watching ROH, like, what's the big deal about Roosh? But he's a great, great heel. There's something about, he's got this charisma that works, so I am thrilled that Andrade, who's one of my favorites, is getting rid of that AFO because it's ridiculous. And he's right, they're a bunch of losers, no offense to them, but they're not at his level, so he's brought in somebody, and I don't know if they're going to go with like the Los Ingobernables where it's just like these guys just run roughshod and don't follow any rules and cheat constantly. I kind of like it, but I'm very intrigued by Roosh's arrival and partnership with Andrade. I think that's a big upgrade for Andrade, so I'm hoping.
Absolutely, I'm very interested in that. Which
even
wasn't
if you
addressed on Dynamite, but
even if you want to go tag team for a while, fine by me, right? So yeah, I'm thrilled.
Dragon Lee wherever he's at.
Love Dragon Lee. So I don't know where that fit in the show. I just remembered it here, but it is the main event, the last thing we're going to talk about, and it's for the AEW World Championship. Hangman Adam Page is the champion. He is defending against CM Punk. Again, notes are not super long on this one, but we get some mat wrestling early on. Punk retains control until he tries to go for a crossbody off the top, and that allows Page to do like roll through, pick him up, and hit a fallaway slam and a crossbody over the top to the floor. He tries to set up for the buckshot lariat, but Punk sort of charges him and knocks him from the ring apron into the ringside barricade. So then Punk's in control again, hits a superplex. Page would eventually hurt his own leg, sort of with a moonsault to the floor. That gives Punk the opportunity to try and come back with his own buckshot lariat, but he falls down. Page lifts him up to go for the go to sleep. Punk was able to counter out of it, and then failed another attempt to hit the buckshot. So it's a lot of each man trying to hit the other man's finisher here. Page eventually hits the Deadeye for a 2 count, and honestly, I don't know if you remember that, but I think that. And I think the crowd would as well, like, it looked like the ref pretty much counted 3 there. Like, maybe Punk kicked out too late almost on that one. But
I don't remember.
Punk kicks out again after Page does hit the go to sleep. And then Page is in control. He goes for the buckshot against Punk. He counters it into an attempt at the go to sleep, only for the referee to get advertently, I think he got kicked in the head and went down.
Yeah.
So the ref is down. Page grabs the belt, looks sort of conflicted as to whether he's going to hit Punk or not.
Which is funny because then watching NXT UK later in the week.
Right. Yes. Very similar idea. So he's hesitant, decides not to hit Punk with the belt, drops the belt, goes for the buckshot again instead, but Punk counters that with the go to sleep. This time he connects and gets the victory and wins the AEW World Championship here. Um, I thought this was a pretty strong match. I wouldn't say it was like all-time amazing main event, but I thought it was an excellent match. It felt like the main event of a major show.
Yeah, I really liked. I don't think it was like the most interesting, but no, it just wasn't the most exciting. But I think it was really good.
And not everything was perfect for sure, but there was some good selling, some good storytelling. The outcome isn't exactly what I wanted. I would have preferred Paige
I would have much
retain,
preferred,
but
and I still want that.
it
But
doesn't bother me a ton. But I did think this was an excellent match. I don't think it was my favorite match on the show,
no,
but I would say, what is it, Arena Anarchy or whatever, and the 6-man tag, and I don't know, I might even have liked Deeb and Rosa better than this. But anyways, I still thought it was a very, very
yeah, it
good
wasn't the
match.
most interesting main event, but I think it was still really good. I wasn't really thrilled with the result, and I
Yes,
still stand by that, especially with now what's happened. Not their fault, but still.
right.
But I think it was really good. I think Punk, what he botched the buckshot, which
Yes.
didn't look great,
But then he tried to sell his leg, I think, right? Was what he was trying to compensate with it.
which kind of is funny now.
Yeah, yeah, it is kind of funny
Yeah.
now. But yeah, a really good match, no doubt.
Yeah, that's all.
And I think honestly, there seem to be mixed reviews on his title reign. Character-wise, I don't know if they did as much as they could with him, but his matches were all excellent. Like excellent matches. So I think that's a feather in his cap, and that
I think he should have gone longer. I think he should have dropped it to MJF. I still think it should have been him, but
I think that we're going to work back around to that with Punk, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Overall thoughts on this show? I thought it was a very good but not great show, and partly due to just the sheer length of it, right? Again, because he didn't want to conflict with the NBA Game 7, they definitely had some filler in the middle of this show that would have been better suited on the buy-in or TV, like the Jade Cargill match, America's Top Team match, and even though I really liked it, the O'Reilly Allen match. Those three don't need to be on this show, in my opinion, right? Which would have brought this down to a more manageable time. I also thought you could add into that the presentation of the Owen Hart Cup and belts could have waited as well and freed up a bit of time here. I thought it hurt the momentum of the show a bit. But that being said, House of Black Death Triangle match was probably my match of the night. Was fantastic. Loved the Deeb Rosa match. Joe Cole underdelivered a bit, but was still really good. And then we got the debut of Roosh, which I think is awesome. Athena debuting. And then the last 5 matches of the show were super strong, I thought. Middle portion lagged a bit for me with filler matches. And so overall, I was torn. So I'm settling on a B. I thought it was a good pay-per-view, and I do think there are some matches people should go out of their way to see. Arena Anarchy, the 6-man match, and even the Women's Championship, probably, even the main event. So I would say there's 4 matches I would recommend people go out and see. But I know the last couple pay-per-views, we've been like thrilled when it's over, and like we need to talk about this tomorrow. I didn't have that feeling from this.
No.
I enjoyed it. I'm still not upset that because I spent my money on this pay-per-view. I don't feel like I wasted my money, but it wasn't quite as strong. Just because if you had trimmed the fat, this show would be probably a B plus or an A minus, but they didn't, so it's a B for me. What about you?
Yeah. I think it kind of suffered from having too much and kind of dragged at times, but when it was good, it was really good. Like I think a lot of matches were great. Like I like the opener for what it was.
Yeah, it made a lot of sense.
Yeah, like the trios match was really good. Anarchy in the Arena was great. The women's title match was great. Those are probably the 3. Or I'd even put like the 3-way tag over the women's match. I really like that too.
Yeah, it was fun.
And then the main event was pretty solid. Not my favorite, but I think that was still really good. And then like you have like a couple things at the middle of the road, like the Bucks, Hardys, or even like the mixed tag was fine.
Yeah.
Actually, Darby Kyle O'Reilly was really good. Just again filler, and then the TBS match was really the downside of this.
Brutal.
And even the mixed tag, I'm not sure, but like that just did not need to be here. There was some stuff that didn't need to be here. I understand why they did it, but honestly, would have rather they just did a normal pay per view because that would have bumped it up a lot for sure. I think I really like some of the stuff, so I think I'll give it like a low end B plus.
That's fair. I think that was what I was debating between B and B plus. So a good show, not a great show, but definitely worth checking out for sure. And that's going to wrap that up. And we'll go into what followed that from AEW. And that we'll be taking a look at this week's episode of AEW Dynamite.
And we open with CM Punk and FTR, as on social media they've been calling themselves CMFTR.
Oh, have they? I have not seen that.
That's fine.
I guess.
It's not as bad as Swerve and Our Glory, but it's also no MJFTR, so.
True.
They're taking on Max Caster and Gun Club. The entrance was good.
Yeah, huge reaction for CM Punk.
I think the new formula for the acclaimed entrance when they're with the Gun Club, it's like Max Caster rap, then you have both the ass boys shout the location, but they both get it wrong. Then
yes,
Bowens gets a pop by doing it, because usually just Bowens would shout it, so that kind of seems to be the formula. And then he shouts "Scissor me, daddy ass."
Yes, and really good rap this week from Caster. There was an
straight to the Amber Heard,
Amber Heard reference, Bret Hart references, right? So I thought it was really good this week.
Mm-hmm. Some of the notables: there's a drop down leapfrog by Cash, followed by a big back body drop. Probably to one of the ass boys. I don't even remember.
My notable early on, remember, is hating the sound mix.
Oh yeah.
You can barely hear JR. The other commentators are quiet, but the ring noise and the crowd noise is extreme. And it doesn't matter if you turn up your volume, because you're just turning up the volume of everything, right?
So which you tried.
They figured it out eventually, but I was not impressed with the mix here.
Yeah, and there's a springboard crossbody from the corner by Punk. Dax hits back suplex to Colton Gunn, looks to the hot tag. Gun Club cut him off, hit a double flapjack. Punk botches on the way in, but then goes on a hot tag flurry, containing another botch.
Yes.
Punk powerbombs Austin into Billy Gunn, who was up on the apron, kind of botched that too. Punk gets a GTS into Austin, who goes right into a smash contraption from FTR, and then Punk scores the win. After the match, Punk says he's never done drugs, but he imagines this is what it feels like. Yeah, ask Jeff Hardy. It definitely makes you botch.
Mm-hmm.
He says you can call him whatever you want, but you gotta call him champ. That aged well.
Mm-hmm.
Dax talks about what pro wrestling means to him. His wife and daughter motivate him, whether you're from a different company or the same company. And then he said something else, I didn't catch it. Punk says that brings him to New Japan Professional Wrestling, which I don't know if I've ever heard that it called that. It's like you just New Japan Pro Wrestling. Like,
yeah.
I couldn't quite pinpoint at first what it was, but I remember the second I heard him say that, I was like, that's off.
Yeah.
And they have a pay-per-view to sell, so he asks, he's like, Forbidden Door, who you got? And then Tanahashi comes out. So I guess that sets up that match. Again, that has aged well.
Yeah, for sure. One note I liked was Billy Gunn when he took a cheap shot. I think he cheap shotted Dax, and then he was like selling his hand, he hurt his hand punching him. I thought that was a good touch. Punk was really off on his timing with the guns in the middle, and it might be the guns' fault. They're not super experienced.
Yeah, I
don't know,
kind of like...
But it looked weird.
This kind of made me annoyed more that he won the title, because his first match after his
was he injured
title
for
win,
this?
I don't know.
Because that might explain some of it.
Or he got injured in this. I don't know. But, aside from that, his first match after winning the title, he's, botching and, he looked kind of slow. This just did not give me much faith for his title run. And I think I just don't. I'll give him time, of course, but I don't love that he looked like this is one of his worst outings in his first outing as champ. So I didn't love that.
In hindsight, maybe it was an injury. I don't know. Maybe. Now that we know.
Everything else was solid enough. It was an okay match, and I'm not particularly thrilled or itching to see Punk versus Tanahashi, which we're not.
Me either.
Could be good. It will not. And they're both pros, so we'll see how it goes. It will not. Once it's confirmed, it was not.
Yeah, I thought the match was decent, but I was a bit confused too. Punk seemed off. To be fair, it may have been the guns who were to blame. I don't know, or maybe he was recovering from his match from Sunday, or maybe he was, but it wasn't his best work here for sure. There was some good stuff in here, and the crowd was fantastic, but not a top tier opener for Dynamite for sure. I was disappointed in Punk's promo afterward, not because he didn't do a good job, but because I was hoping that he would lean into being a heel, and he's clearly not, at least at this point.
It was clearly just a one and done.
So I thought Dax was great on the mic as he is, and I guess we got a bit of suspense before they announced Punk's opponent. It's Tanahashi, who we talked about it in the moment. Tanahashi's never been my favorite. Talented wrestler for sure, but never been my favorite, and he's definitely not in his prime at this point, so it's not the ideal opponent, but it doesn't guess it all. It's all a moot point.
I thought Punk's also
it's not happening anyways.
He grew out and his beard is grayed out more, so right. I like that. Now that he's won the title, he chooses to look older.
Right.
That's just so nice.
He's a grizzled veteran now.
Grizzled young veteran.
But now that we get to talk about probably the best thing from this week, maybe.
Best thing from the month.
So let's go ahead, talk about it.
I should say it's the best thing from the month when it was on June 1st.
Right. Best thing of that day.
So we get to hear from MJF. So he comes down in the ring. MJF said he is in a lot of.
Your notes are betraying you?
The note I borrowed, it says MJF said that he was in a lot of right now after what happened on Sunday. A lot of pain, I believe he said.
Yep, that makes sense.
MJF claimed that all the fans wanted was to hear him talking. He said that this is Max Friedman talking and took his scarf. So I guess real life MJF doesn't have a middle name.
No.
MJF said, or MF, I guess. That's funny too. Said that a lot of executives are there this week. Said that the boss has been trying to get him to sit down and hash things out with him, and the fans are chanting, "Shut the F up." MJF said that everybody in this company was handing a tick when they first started. It was all friends wrestling. MJF said he created moment after moment. He still gets no respect. He said that nobody is on his life.
On his level?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It says on his life. Everything he touches turns to gold. There's nothing he can't do. MJF talked about how he's expected to hit grand slams, and he does that on a weekly basis. MJF said that other boys settle for being great. Well, he's a 26-year-old held under a microscope because he's the only that's capable of carrying this company on his back like he has done for months. MJF wondered where the fans were when they were calling him an unprofessional piece of crap. MJF said that the boys in the back all want a spot, and if you want a spot, you can have it because he doesn't want to be there anymore.
Ooh.
He called the fans uneducated marks that tweet their opinions like they're worth a damn. He told the fans that they don't know anything. He spoke about how some fans think he's not good in the ring. And he talks about he's trained. And he's like, "Oh, I'm not untrained like your faves." Right. And he said that he was the best in the world. He said he's the only guy that makes you feel and doesn't have to do a bunch of bull crap to get there. MJ said that he's a generational talent. You people consistently take him for granted. He said it's not just the fans, it's the big man in the back. MJ asked who the second biggest minute for minute draw in this company. He said it's him. MJ said we should ask Stat Boy TK. MJF said you can't ask Tony to reach into his pockets that he has been busting his ass for him since day one. MJ said that Tony wants to hoard all the money so he can give it to all the ex-WWE guys who he does name drop WWE. And he keeps bringing in, and they can't lace his goddamn boots. MJF wondered if he would be treated better if he was an ex-WWE guy. MJF said that the boss is in a position of power in the wrestling business, but he should be behind the guardrail with the fans. He looked in the camera saying he doesn't want to wait until 2024, which is when his contract will expire, and he says that he wants Tony to fire him, and he yells at him, and even like part of it gets bleeped out.
Yeah, well, a ton of it got bleeped out.
He called him an effing mark. I actually saw it in uncensored.
It reminded me of Beverly Goldberg when she goes on a ramp and they just bleep out the whole thing. Yeah. There was like a full sentence or so
and
that
his
was
mic
bleeped.
Was also cut to end it.
Right. Yeah. I like the way he said like, "Don't count me down." Right. Like a more subtle way of being like, they're telling him he has so many seconds left. Right. And he's like, "Don't count me." Yeah. I mean, man, this was incredible promo here. Interesting, again, I noticed right away, not a single mention of his feud or match with Wardlow. It's like it didn't happen, basically. They are shifting gears really quickly here. And again, nitpick among nitpicks, because I love this promo, but not the best time to be coming out talking about how you're the best in the world when you just got absolutely squashed on a pay-per-view a couple days before this, right? So timing-wise, a little bit odd, but again, nitpicking. MJF was on absolute fire here. I couldn't care less how much of this is storyline, how much of it is real. It doesn't matter to me. It's thoroughly entertaining to watch on my TV screen. This is reminiscent of Punk McMahon, and I've since seen somebody did like a sort of a mashup of the two, the pipe bomb and this together. I don't think this is a coincidence. I think this is like an homage or reference to it. He had the crowd in the palm of his hand for this. And he looks like he's quickly, although we'll see now with how things are going, that he's jumping from one lengthy feud that had a great build into what is likely another one, right? This was just a captivating promo by one of the best on the mic, and he's only 26 years old, right? And one other detail that I love to add to the reality of this, commentary say absolutely nothing about this promo afterwards, right? Like because they cut to commercial to sort of imply they're cutting his mic off, and then they don't mention it when they come back, which I think is a cool touch.
And I think it'd be interesting. So you could also interpret it as like, which I think would maybe be the intention. It's like Tony Khan's like, don't talk about it.
Exactly.
Like,
that Tony's in their ear going like, do not mention this because that promo wasn't supposed to happen, et cetera, right?
Right.
So again, blurring the lines, making this feel real. I loved it. And I think maybe again, kernel of truth here, and they're turning it into a story, and I am, for one, am here for it. So I love this. I imagine most people did.
Yeah, I thought it was absolutely phenomenal. Some people are calling this like one of the best promos of all time, or like a second coming of the pipe bomb. I wouldn't be opposed to either statement. Same energy and dynamic as the pipe bomb too. I thought he was absolutely amazing here, on fire. Some of his best work. I believe it's a work and it's not real.
Of
That's
course.
fine, because I think it's a great story leading into the real life reports and whatnot. So like there is a kernel of truth to it. I think even if it is like fake, I don't care, because it's so great. It is believable too. It is entertaining, right? It's really entertaining.
Yep.
It is believable if it was real, and just the best guy to sell it to. Even if it's like, even though I do think it's a work, I'm invested because it's super entertaining. He's getting me invested. Like he'll make you want to believe it, right? Like even something like that. He's so believable. He was live at times here. It was great. He name dropped them multiple times, which generated a pretty good response, and I think that also like makes it more real for some people, because like usually you don't do that. I'm super excited to see where this goes. It's hard to tell which parts are real, which is fake, which makes it great as well. It was really great. One of the best things I've seen in a while.
Fantastic stuff.
Best promo in a long while. And that's 2 weeks in a row, because I think I also really enjoyed the Hangman Punk thing last week. This is better, of course,
right.
But I think last week's was pretty good too. Next we get a Johnny Elite Open challenge, or he signed an open contract to face anyone, which we discussed was Miro. So that's pretty cool.
Definitely.
Notables, there was rapid corner blows and then stomps by Miro. Miro caught Johnny Elite, and then he hit a swinging slam, kind of ends like a near Nagi. There's a springboard enziguri by Johnny Elite and a standing shooting star press for 1 count. There's a weird dive botch from Johnny Elite, and then a Machka kick by Miro. It's funny, when he was supposed to miss a dive, he kind of hit it.
Right.
And when he's supposed to hit a dive, he kind of missed it.
Right.
In another match.
Yes.
And so then after that, Miro wins with the game over submission.
Yeah, I liked his promo that he cut. He talked about his neck of sand has been fixed, but now his heart is broken, and he did his usual Redeemer promo. I thought it was pretty cool. And again, still nothing said about the MJF promo, which I like. This match was all it needed to be, right? Miro gets a dominant win over a quality opponent, not just some jobber, but actually a guy with some name. And considering how long he's been out, which has been months and months, right?
Since November.
I thought he looked pretty good here, and I'm a big fan of Miro, so I'm glad to have him back. This is all it needed to be, I thought.
Yeah, I'm happy to see Miro back. Finally, it's definitely been a while. They brought him back well too. To be honest, when I saw Johnny Elite was coming back for this match, I was pretty unhappy with that, because I thought it was just gonna be a one-off.
Right.
But it was a great use of it. I'm happy that you used it for Miro, who looked really good here, dominant most of the matches he should. Elite got a bit in, which is fine, like a fair amount, and the Miro looked like a beast. I'm interested to see what they'll do with him, and it's good he's finally back, because I don't know where you really go with him, you know?
No, I don't either.
But we'll see.
Yeah.
Then there's just a quick Anarchy in the Arena package, just match highlights.
Yep.
Which the package wasn't set to Wild Thing, so that's kind of stupid. And to kind of follow on from that, we get a Jazz in-ring promo.
Of course we do.
Jeff Parker, or Angelo Parker, damn it. Angelo Parker says, at Double or Nothing, they dominated Anarchy in the Arena, says, therefore the AEW Galaxy should appreciate them. Technically, they should appreciate Jericho, and then the AEW Galaxy should appreciate them appreciating Jericho.
Right.
Matt Menard asked if you ordered the pay-per-view. I didn't, personally. And if you did, you'd know they are the Princes of Pain, I think is what he said, because nobody does it better. Jericho says winning that match was not without a price, and he recounts what they went through, talks about how Kingston wanted to light him on fire, and he's like, what kind of man would light another man on fire?
That was funny.
Yeah, that got a decent chuckle out of me. He says Danielson said he would kick his head in, but he and Hager choked at Danielson. They won. That is indeed factual. He says Garcia will do the same to Mox tonight, and sports entertainers always win against pro wrestlers. Kingston comes out angry with Regal. Says none of the guys are talking to him. Like, I guess like he hasn't been in touch with the other guys from Anarchy in the Arena since Double or Nothing, and he wants to fight them. He gets Regal to say blood and guts. So this is their setup for that. 'Cause it's like him seeing War Games, except it doesn't have the same gravitas. No. Like it just doesn't.
I agree.
It's not the same. Jericho asked if he wants it, and says he won't get it and tells Hager and 2.0 to go get him. They go attack Kingston. Ortiz comes in the ring from behind, just whips Jericho with the mad ball, which I thought was pretty funny, and cuts off a bit of Jericho's hair. So then he ducks out of the ring and goes to Kingston once the rest of the Jazz come in the ring and chase him off. Jericho calls Ortiz a stupid SOB and says his hair is worth more than his entire existence, and gives them the Blood and Guts match. And if they get that, he wants Ortiz in a hair of his hair match, which is going to be at Road Rager in a few weeks, I think.
Yes.
What did you think?
I thought Jericho talked a lot and said very little, and then Kingston says very little but accomplishes a lot, right? I don't know if that was the plan or not, but that's kind of how it
That's
broke
funny,
down.
but that's right, yeah.
I really liked the match, obviously, at Double or Nothing. I didn't necessarily need a rematch, and like we said, like I don't know where they go from this. It does give a whole bunch of the top talent in the company something to do, I guess, and the match could be good again. I don't know if it can be better than what they've already done, but and regarding the hair versus hair match, I have a suspicion that Jericho loses this because I'm noticing a bit of a bald spot emerging from him, and he might be like, it's time to get rid of this hair, and this is a way to use
Go
it.
bald?
Like maybe, because I think he's losing his hair. I've
can't-
spotted a bit of a bald spot, I think.
but that makes sense. I can't imagine him with bald, though.
No, and it's a lot easier to imagine Ortiz without hair because he's done that before, right? He was basically like crew cutted earlier, I think. But anyways,
When?
he hasn't always had hair, at least not when I've seen him. But I don't know when. I don't know if it's AEW.
I remember Santana having like really
Santana
short
for
hair,
sure.
like. But I remember Ortiz has always got like sometimes he had an afro or like.
Yeah, I don't know. I could be thinking of Santana then. But anyways, I
know Santana did. But...
This was okay, I guess. Whatever. They were getting another match. I don't know where they're gonna go, but we'll find out. You?
Yeah, so I thought the promo from Jazz was fine, nothing special. Jericho didn't accomplish much, but I thought the fire line was pretty funny, actually.
Yep.
I'm kind of interested for Blood and Guts, I guess. Could be good, could be boring.
True.
Just won't top Anarchy in the
Probably
Arena.
not. I mean, if it does, great, but I have my doubts.
Yeah. Because they're literally contained.
Yes.
Samoa Joe interview from Double or Nothing. Nothing much. He just gets attacked by Lethal and Co. The arm is targeted again. I didn't really care for it. It was okay.
I just had Joe.
Really much.
Joe is attacked. I really didn't put any thoughts about it.
I
think it was just like, in case you forgot, because he just was in that Cole match. This is what he has.
Yeah,
going,
I
right?
kind of don't.
It's okay.
I really hope Ring of Honor gets something. I don't really need this on Dynamite. Like, it's not bad. I just don't really care.
I think I read somewhere that Ring of Honor's TV deal is going to be a while. They still don't know what it's going to look like.
I heard they're returning to pay-per-view in a decent time, though.
Yes,
I think it's
that I saw as well.
July, maybe, for Death Before Dishonor.
Right.
19, I want to say. Or, I think.
I don't know.
Anyways, next we get a big 10-man tag. Jurassic Express, Christian Cage, Matt Hardy, and Jeff Hardy's replacement, Darby Allin. So that's pretty solid.
Yep.
Versus the Super Elite, minus Adam Cole. So you may think, oh, Jeff Hardy got a good replacement. I wonder who they got for Adam Cole. Hikuleo.
Yeah, who I have talked about on Impact a few times. I'm not a big fan. He looks pretty limited to me, and
I don't really care
I think
about him.
AEW knew that by the amount of time he got here, right?
Yeah.
And Cole's on commentary for this one as well, right?
Yeah, with his big square
Giant,
belt,
beefy belt. Yes,
it is so square and so
big.
chunky,
as
so
the kids
chunky.
say.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I don't really know why they had to replace Cole because I know Jeff Hardy was up, but like Hikuleo, really? They said he called in a favor from Jay White. If he really called in a favor, he would have taken like Chris Bay or Finley or that's what I said. Like take Jay White.
I would love to see Chris Bay in AEW.
Yeah, and like just not Hikuleo. Like I don't know.
I also agree with that.
I don't remember saying it before, but like Hikuleo is the Doc Gallows of Bullet Club, even though Doc Gallows is also in Bullet Club. So he's the Doc Gallows.
He's the heir apparent to the Doc Gallows throne of nonsense.
That's exactly what he is. He's the heir apparent to Bullet Club.
To the worst member
Doc
of
Gallows.
Bullet Club.
Yeah, he is the heir apparent. Like the second Doc Gallows is there, the second Doc Gallows is out, it's Hikuleo.
Yep.
And then he just needs like a slightly more talented tag team partner.
Exactly.
I don't know who, but someone like Carl Anderson, but that's related to Haku. So it has to be someone related to Haku because I think he's related to Haku, right? Because I feel like I saw Haku on
I have no
AEW,
idea.
with Hikuleo.
Could be.
Probably. Anyways,
this match.
Basic double team offense to Fish by Cage and Hardy. They're old, so imagine what offense they did. I'm not gonna explain it. I am remembering it right now, but I'm not gonna explain it.
Mm-hmm.
It was boring. Stereo moonsaults outside by Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy to opposite groups of people. The Bucks go on a bit of a flurry before the commercial break. Jungle Boy hit a destroyer to Matt Jackson off the back of Luchasaurus
That was
after a
cool.
hot tag flurry from Luchasaurus, which I actually really enjoyed.
Yep, me too.
That was pretty good. Luchasaurus and Hikuleo collide with a double clothesline and the tag out to Kyle O'Reilly and Darby Allin. Did I know anything else from Hikuleo? Nope.
No, and that's perfect.
Mhm.
That's how it should be.
Yeah. Red Dragon hit Chasing the Dragon on the outside to Darby, which is the roundhouse kick, brainbuster.
Although it's a suplex now. It wasn't
Kinda.
a brainbuster, so I'm less of a fan.
Yeah. Then there's a super kick party from the Bucks. And so Red Dragon take out Matt Hardy, a total elimination because he was in the ring. And the Bucks hit a picture perfect Meltzer driver to Jungle Boy. Like, it just looked really crisp for some reason. Like, they just nailed him. And they score the win for their team. Also, Nick Jackson's clean shaven now, so they just seem to change their look. Like,
they do.
You can never pinpoint a look on them.
And somehow he'll have a full beard next week.
Exactly. Yes, bizarre. I remember like last year, the last time they went clean shaven for a bit. Like, I think it was I remember they also changed their ring gear too. It was, I don't remember why. It might have been I want to say it wasn't the Looney Tunes thing. It was something else.
Oh my god, I forgot about that already.
It might have been the Ghostbusters one. I don't know. Anyways, I remember the last time they clean shaved their face for a bit. No, they were wearing like streaker or something. Remember they had like a street fight match and like they were like wearing shorts or something. I forget what that match was. It was some sort of like street fight kind of match. Anyways, then they had like a beard like 1 or 2 weeks later. It's like it's miraculous. And like Nick Jackson will have his hair colored weird or something. Or like he'll have the handlebar mustache again.
Exactly.
Yeah. Matt Jackson still had the sideburns though.
So this match, despite feeling like a bit of a mishmash of random people due to the replacements and stuff, I thought it was a really fun TV tag match. My main complaint would be when Matt Hardy was in control, running everybody's head into all of the turnbuckles. That seemed to be a bit longer of a segment than I needed. But everything else I thought was really good. It was a very much an AEW style multi-man match, which means you're going to have to forgive some referees not getting involved enough if you're okay with that. But
you're not JR.
I was entertained by this. I liked this match, actually. You?
Yeah, I enjoyed it quite a bit. I don't know why you had to replace Cole with Hikuleo, but I digress. I liked a lot of classic AEW multi-man tag, another fun one harkening back to the days when that was the norm. I don't even remember the exact period when that was. I want to say at some point in 2020.
Yeah, where it was like every opener was a crazy 6-man tag.
Or like at least like some point on the show, like there was always like a 6-man tag or an 8-man tag. I want to say it was like late 2020 or.
And even if they're just throwing it together without much of a story, it's still fun on TV.
As long as you have a solid talent pool, which they did,
right.
It works well. I liked it a lot. There was a lot to like here. I thought the Bucks were great. They had some good moments. They were probably the standouts here. I actually really liked Luchasaurus hot tag. He had a standing moonsault in there.
He did.
Kyle O'Reilly and Darby had a good exchange after their match on Sunday. There's a lot going on. I don't remember anything bad. They're smart in limiting the use of Hikuleo. But the Meltzer driver, too, just looked really good for some reason.
It did.
And they actually pinned Jungle Boy, so that's interesting. I'm down for that title match. That would be good.
Yep.
I don't think they need to win that, though. Young Bucks, I mean. Next we get Swerve and Our Glory interview. Just kidding. Lee and Swerve interview. I'm not going to call them that.
Please don't.
I will never.
Good.
It's weird. It's not even like it's the worst name ever. And I was saying this, like, it's not the worst name ever. It's just like it's not good enough to make me uncomfortable. Like, it's just like kind of it's not the worst name. It just sounds really weird.
It feels WWE to me. Something they would do.
It's not even outright bad. It just sounds weird.
Yep.
It's just like something about it is off and makes me uncomfortable. Swerve introduces some people they have with them. It's like if I'm just thinking this now. It reminds me like it would be like if we saw Uncle Phil and he's got like some city people with him. He's like introducing them. It'd be like something like that. Like I don't.
And the whole time you're like, I don't care, dude. I just want to talk to you.
Right.
Because that's how I felt here. Like, why are we wasting all of this
promo? That's pretty much all he said. And then Lee says, whether it's tag or singles gold, the goal is gold. Shocker. He says, you will all swerve in their glory.
I don't know who these other people were. Introducing them was like more than half of this segment, and none of it meant anything to me. I kind of felt like this was a wasted opportunity because these guys had just had a really entertaining match on the pay-per-view. I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of interested in these guys as a tag team. Let's hear what they have to say. And it was, here's 3 people that you've never heard of that don't matter, and our promo's over. We want
Yes,
belts.
people that you haven't heard of and that you probably won't need to hear
So I
about.
didn't understand why they did this. I thought it was kind of a waste of an opportunity for these guys.
Yeah, it was short. It was fine. It was kind of a waste. Swerve didn't really say much other than introducing people that will not be important.
I hope not, at least. I don't need to see them again.
And Leo's okay, but they need to ditch that ending line / tag team name.
Yes.
Like, I feel like in NXT UK, the hottest tag team under the sun. Like, sure, that's longer, but I'd rather that than.
Me too.
I'd rather that for them than this for them.
Agree.
Like, that's just less offensive. Next we get an interview with Athena on the stage.
And I was like, oh no, Ember Moon's gonna speak.
I
which
actually
is never
forgot
good.
that that's not her strong suit.
It's
forgot.
really. But anyways, go ahead. We'll talk about what I thought of this one.
She said she can finally say Athena's all elite, baby. She said that she's there due to the competition in AEW's women's division, while mentioning the dominant TBS champ Jade Cargill. She said all streaks are made to be broken. She will be the one to beat Jade's streak. She said she's the fallen goddess. Wonder what she fell from. WWE, maybe. Here come, and then so Jade comes in and says, tell Sony to cut the crap. She comes with the baddies. Stokely Hathaway speaks, saying he's Jade's publicist, saying this woman is a queen, goddess, or TBS champion. Jade said, not today for a title shot. Kiera Hogan stepped up to Athena, and then Anna Jay and Chris Statlander, because they needed to be here. They come out to support Athena, because I don't know.
Yeah. I thought this was simple and effective, and Athena has cut some pretty bad promos as Ember Moon, but I thought this quick thing wasn't one of them, and maybe it's as simple as like being tightly scripted in WWE doesn't help her at all, right? And imagine like if you just let her sort of, here's the gist of what we want you to say, go out and say it, she sounded a little bit better. So I got what I wanted with Hathaway replacing Sterling. Not that Sterling doesn't do a really good job, but I don't think he fits as well with Jade as he could with some other people. So I like the presentation of Jade and the baddies. It seems like they're doing a Hurt Business like thing that I was kind of hoping for, so I'm fine with it. And if they build it correctly, I think even Athena would be believable as the one to end Jade's streak. If
right,
they
that's
want
what
to
we
go
were
there
saying.
yet.
They didn't really have anyone
No.
to beat Cargill, and then they brought someone in. So, which credit to them? That's smart.
Yep, and I think it's possible if they build it right. I don't know when.
Although on the other hand, it's not the best timing. So I would kind of like some time for Jade to be champion with Malcolm Bivens around, because I feel like once you take the title from her, she's probably like she might take a break or something, and then Bivens is kind of.
And I think Bivens is going to be different than he was in WWE and get sort of. The shackles will come off, and I think we'll see he is really, really good on the mic.
And he was good in Diamond Mine too. So
he was great in Diamond Mine, but I think he'll even dial it up probably in this role with Jade, right?
I vote he ditches the baddies and manages Taylor Rust to single stardom.
Dream on. I look forward to this affiliation, shall we say.
I did forget to mention in our news, because it was the biggest news of the week, is that when the Bucks were doing the Hardys cosplay, there actually one of their opponents was like something Cruz, and then Taylor Rust is on Rampage. I don't think he really did anything, but he was there, so the journey has begun.
Yes. Journey to the AEW Championship?
Yep, or anything.
Yep.
Journey to TV.
Yeah.
Wait, he's on TV. Journey to doing something where I can see him without having to try hard.
Nice.
AKA getting on Dynamite. So I thought it was okay. Promos and Urban are strong suit, but I think it was solid. I liked Hathaway. He was pretty good. Nice to see him back on TV. And yeah, he will have more freedom here, which I think will benefit him.
Me too.
It'd be like if Paul Heyman had no restraints.
Right.
I think he'll work very well for Cargill's mouthpiece. The whole argument, like when all the people were shouting at each other, wasn't very interesting to me at the end. I didn't really care for that.
Mm-hmm.
Wardlow versus JD Drake, and his Instagram handle is real James Drake, which throws me off because I think of James Drake.
Yes.
From NXT.
And this was the only reference, I think, on Wardlow's nameplate when he comes in. It said destroyed MJF over it, and that seems to be like the only mention of that on this show, right?
Right. Mm-hmm. There wasn't really much to note. There's just some chops by Drake, and then Wardlow hit a big clothesline, and he wins with some power bombs. So we're back to that formula.
Yep. Yeah, it was like we're back to before he had the match with MJF, kind of, which was an odd choice, I thought, but okay.
Post-match, Giovanni interviews Wardlow. Sterling cuts it off, accompanied by security guards. One of them gives Wardlow paper, says he's serving Wardlow on behalf of security council or something like that. And he'll see him in court. And then Wardlow problems, the guy who handed him the papers.
Yeah, so I know that Sterling, there was a tweet or something about how he was trying to get people to sign a clash action suit. It makes sense with his like lawyer background. So yeah, we're back to a standard Wardlow squash. And I don't know, the Sterling angle to me seems to indicate he's going to keep demolishing security guards for a while. So I thought Sterling did a good job, and the angle, I guess it makes sense. But I think they really need to strike while the iron's hot with Wardlow, right? Like he's at like
Yeah.
peak strength here. You need to get him into a feud of some significance, I think, pretty quickly. So I don't quite know where they're going with this lawsuit storyline, but I think Wardlow needs to get involved with a major player pretty quickly.
Yeah, I agree. The match was just a squash standard Wardlow match. Not much to say. The match was fine, but I feel like it could lead to a court segment. I hope it isn't, because I don't really want to see that.
No.
And I think he needs to be involved in something worth his time again. Strike while the iron is hot. I don't think you can give him a title, but give him something worth his time.
I could see him being involved in like TNT title. He could squash whoever has that, Scorpio Sky, right?
Did you actually just say whoever has that?
Yeah.
Wow. Good job.
Yeah.
Speak of the devil, we get a Scorpio Sky interview. Lambert says whether you like Dante Martin or not, you can't deny his potential, but it just means in a couple of years he could be as good as Sky is now. But Ethan Page says he has a couple of days, not a couple of years. Sky's about to snap his fingers to end the segment. Oh, I actually did that decently. I don't usually do that.
Impressive.
Dante Martin interrupts, says he appreciates the confidence in his potential, but he thinks he is better than Sky is right now. He'll prove it on Rampage. Did he? I don't know.
So they're sort of leaning back to heels with Lambert and Men of the Year, I guess. So I liked Scorpio Sky in the full suit and carrying the belt. It looked good, and he speaks well. Dante Martin didn't get to say a lot, but he does seem to be getting better, and they kept his role minimal here, which I think is smart. The match could be really good if given some time. I don't imagine Martin wins, but for some reason, I don't know, this is where I feel like Wardlow might be coming for the TNT title once the lawsuit thing runs its course. Because I don't think they want him in the main event picture.
No, I don't. To be fair, I don't really want him in it either.
I think if he stays a tier below that, he should still be steamrolling people for a bit, right? So I don't know when you have him lose, but it shouldn't be now. So we'll see, I guess, where that goes.
I would also like to see him in more of a match where he's not doing that, because I feel like
yes,
that's the next step for him, because I think he can keep steamrolling people, and I think he should still be pretty dominant. But I think we do at some point need to see how he can like actually work a match, right? Like I think we need to kind of see that, and we haven't seen much of that. I don't even remember the last time he did something like
nothing
that.
competitive in a long time.
I think we need that. I think it was fine promo from the year solid. Dante didn't sound bad. He was all right actually for him.
Yeah, he was.
Like usually he's not the best sounding.
Correct.
So he was pretty solid. That was all right. Next we got our women's match of the week, as I will always refer to them as.
But at least they worked 4 women into this one.
Wasn't very exciting mix though, because it's Baker and Hayter versus Storm and Soho, which that was on Rampage before the tournament, right?
Was it?
I swear it was.
I don't know. You could be right.
Remember, there's one of the promo segments, and you're like, Toni Storm doesn't look interested.
Oh yeah, she did not look interested in certain things.
I think that set up the first version of this match.
Could be.
I believe.
Rematch.
Which confused me why this was here, but I digress. There's stereo kicks to the chest and slash back of a seated Baker by Storm. Soho's like coming from both sides at the same time. Baker takes control, takes in Hayter, who stomps Soho in the corner. There's a draping neckbreaker from the apron by Baker on the outside. Saito suplex by Soho. She makes a hot take to Storm for a flurry. There's a draping DT on the outside from the apron by Hayter. Then she takes a diving cross by the outside by Soho. The DT was pretty cool. And then Soho took a sling blade from Baker, so kind of like a move thing.
Right.
Hayter blocked the back heel trip from Soho. It's a solid backbreaker. Soho actually won with hitting Destination Unknown to Baker for the win, which is just a crappy version of Sister Abigail, I guess. Like it doesn't look super effective.
Right.
And after the match, Hayter hit Soho and Storm with Baker's own heart belt, which so her and Cole are like wearing those, which I think is interesting. Which I don't mind. I like Cole having.
But they'll never
belt.
defend them, right?
No, they're not. They're not. That's kind of. It's like it's
like a trophy, basically.
Yeah, I think Braun Strowman and Graves Royal Rumble.
Right. This match. So I think that Toni Storm and Jamie Hayter have good chemistry. I kind of like this match. Storm seems to be working faster, more aggressive style, and she's looked a lot better to me the last couple weeks. So I actually thought this was a really good tag match for the amount of time they got, and a really energetic crowd that got into it. really good pace from all four, showcasing themselves, looking good. I thought. The refs lost control, as tends to happen in AEW, but that doesn't bother me here. Hayter and Storm were the standouts in this for me. I know you're going to hate to hear that, but I really liked this match quite a bit. I was surprised, over delivered again. So I thought Hayter Storm individually over delivered, and I thought this match did as well. I liked it.
Yeah, I actually liked it more than I expected. It was pretty solid. One of the better women's matches I remember recently. Solid match. There were some solid spots. Had a good pace to it, I thought, actually.
Yep.
Teased a bit of dissension between Hayter and Baker, which is
It did.
fine, but
It's coming.
I can't say I'm interested in that. I don't think it's necessary or needed, but I think
I feel like
it's
that's
kind
where
of
we're
inevitable.
going. Yes, I think so.
Soho's finisher doesn't look finisher worthy. Solid match for the only one the women get.
Yep. It was good.
Then we have our main event, which is Jon Moxley versus Daniel Garcia.
Yes.
Who I didn't know had his own theme song.
Yeah, and he was wearing the white Kangol cap backwards, right? And Jericho's on commentary wearing it as well, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And they played Wild Thing normally, so that was kind of a letdown.
Yes.
There was multiple snapmares, then back kicks by Mox. Like, not like he kept snapmaring him and then kicking him a bunch. I mean, like, you go snapmare kick. Because the way I phrased it, I even remember when I was writing at the time, I thought the way I phrased it, it sounds like he's just snapmaring him a bunch of times and then kicking him a bunch. Which, that'd be kind of funny, actually. Ew.
Wow.
Garcia wedges Mox's leg between the ring post and the stairs and then drop kicks the stairs.
Yep.
So that was kind of cool. Later on, there's an X-Plex on the steel stairs by Mox.
Looked really good.
Looked pretty nice.
It
did. He's bleeding a bunch, by the way. Front transfer superplex for 2 by Mox and rapid elbows. Garcia locks in a regal stretch submission. Mox gets a rope break. Pile driver by Garcia for 2. Jericho tried to interfere. Kingston comes to attack him. Mox at the paradigm shift and then chokes Garcia with the bulldog choke. And then he has like a quick promo bit after. Not really anything. He just says he basically signs up for blood and guts.
Right. I thought this match started out kind of slowly and then picked up once they went to the floor. And after that, lots of violence, high impact moves. I thought Garcia looked as impressive as I've seen him with lots of smooth counters in this one. I would have been fine if this even had gotten a few more minutes, but I thought this was a really good match and a really strong main event, which I'm glad to say because we've been sort of like, yeah, we hear Daniel Garcia is amazing and he's getting in some matches with some high profile people, but I thought he looked really good here. I quite enjoyed this main event. Of course, it's not like Garcia's not a main event name at this point, but they do that sometimes on Dynamite, right? So I thought this was a really good main event. I enjoyed it. You?
I thought I liked it a bit. I thought it was pretty good, but I don't know, something about it didn't feel main eventy to me. Like it was good, but
I think that's fair.
It just didn't really feel like a main event.
Well, Garcia has been such an afterthought. Like nobody in Jazz except for Jericho feels like they'd be anywhere near a main event, right? It seems like it's him, and then there's these guys in the background.
Right.
So that might be part of the issue.
It is the Jericho Appreciation Society.
Right, I guess so.
Living up to the name.
Yeah.
Violent One is Mox once again had to bleed.
So they were saying that maybe it was
bleeding.
true. Stitches from the arena match got popped open here, and he was bleeding. Quite bloody.
Yep.
Yes.
Some of the spots were cool, though. Solid showing for Garcia. Mox annihilated him at the end, like a paradigm shift, and then just choking him out. Not too dissimilar from the finish in the
With
nothing
Danielson
match.
getting choked?
Yep.
Yeah.
I guess it's starting to build to Kingston's Blood and Guts team. Although I could easily see it being a double nothing rematch, which I would be fine with too. Like if they just rehash that, sure. Or if he's recruiting other people, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Show thoughts.
I thought this show moved really quickly. It felt shorter than 2 hours to me because it was and not fast like NXT feels frantic sometimes, and I get annoyed. This just moved quickly. The MJF promo was the highlight of the show, the highlight of my week probably. Which that's a huge compliment, right? For me to say that a promo is my favorite thing ahead of matches and stuff. But there were plenty of other entertaining things as well. Thought the 6-man tag and the women's tag were both really entertaining. I thought the main event was really good. Add in the return of Miro, a decent opener. It wasn't great, but it was decent. So I thought this show were in the A range. I gave it an A-, and that's largely with MJF's promo just bumping it up, right? Even almost a full letter grade. It was just so strong. It raises the overall grade significantly for me. A really fun show with the can't miss segment and some good matches that I enjoyed. So it's my first one in the A range in quite a while, which makes me happy. So an A- from me. What about you?
Yeah, of course the MJF promo was the highlight of the week. It was great. Like one of his best things, and it was just really good. The opener was all right. I think Punk didn't look quite
He didn't. He definitely
great,
didn't.
but it was solid. Miro looked dominant in his return, but not like the best match. I thought the multi-man tag was actually really fun and like that. Women's tag over delivered. There was a World Squash that didn't really matter much. But the women's tag was solid, and then the main event was pretty solid too. So that's 3 good matches and an amazing segment. Jasper was okay. Nothing was really bad. But I don't think
I
it was
agree.
like
That's part of it too.
an amazing show overall. But I thought it was really good, so I'd give it a B+.
Nice. It's nice that we don't totally agree on everything all the time, but we were pretty close there. So that's going to move us into taking a look at some possibly terrible trivia from the Questionable Trivia book in a segment we like to call Off the Top of His Head. All right, I'm just going to go for it this week. I don't think these are going to be very hard for you, but I'm going to do it. It's Chapter 15. It's pay-per-view trivia time. Are you ready?
Yep.
All right, so this is going to be a really hard one. Which of these is considered the second biggest WWE event of the year after WrestleMania?
SummerSlam?
Well, is that your answer?
Yeah.
Yes, you are correct. It is supposed to be the second biggest. Although, do you feel that it is?
Yeah.
I think Royal Rumble might be.
I don't know.
I know, but
I think it would be third because they
think that SummerSlam is their WrestleMania of the summer, right?
Yeah, and then I feel like Royal Rumble is a little less so because it sets up WrestleMania.
I think it's just because I prefer it.
I do prefer it.
So my bias is coming through there. In which year did Survivor Series start?
I want to say it was 88.
Very close.
87.
That is correct. 1987. Which of these is not among the big 4 pay-per-views? Ooh, this is hard.
Okay.
SummerSlam, TLC, WrestleMania, Survivor Series.
That's
ridiculous, I know. Just answer it.
At least say like Money in the Bank or something,
yes.
You know? TLC.
Correct. I don't consider Survivor Series one of the big 4 personally anymore.
No.
Because there's nothing of value
there.
But
I don't even consider Money in the Bank one. Like, I would like to.
It used to be. I used to think it was.
Yeah, I would like to, but I can't.
Which pay-per-view event involves superstars getting an opportunity to win a contract for a title shot?
Speak of the Devil.
Right.
Money in the Bank.
Correct. You didn't even need the options. You're so smart. Which WWE pay-per-view event involves an Andre the Giant dedication match?
It's an odd way of phrasing.
Yes, and it is.
WrestleMania.
Although
sometimes SmackDown.
I was just
going to
say
SmackDown the past 2 years.
Been WrestleMania SmackDown for 2 years or whatever they call it.
They called it WrestleMania SmackDown this year.
Number 6. Which of these WWE events is headlined by steel cages? Wow, that's a hard one. Do you want to not have the options and guess?
TNA Lockdown.
Nope.
Hell in a Cell.
Correct. Number 7. Which WWE event involves a lack of set rules and guidelines? Okay. I guess that makes sense.
Extreme Rules?
Correct.
Like, that narrows it down to very few, but that's just pretty funny.
That's it, Extreme Rules.
I like the phrasing there.
Me too. True or false? WWE King of the Ring is awarded to the superstar who wins the Money in the Bank contract. This never disappoints. True or false? Hurry up. All right.
That is really funny.
What is the longest running WWE pay-per-view event? That's a dumb question too.
WrestleMania.
Yeah, of course. Some of these
That's like saying, what's the oldest WWE title?
Which WWE pay-per-view has the longest run time? Obviously.
WrestleMania.
Correct. We'll just keep saying WrestleMania, and you'll be right.
Okay.
Except for true or false. I guess you can't for this one.
No, I'm still going to say it.
True or false? Money in the Bank is the WWE event dubbed the biggest party of the summer.
WrestleMania.
True or false?
False.
And what is the biggest party of the summer?
WrestleMania.
No.
Summer.
Correct.
I guess Money in the Bank is usually in July, so it's not even like, it depends on which one you party more at.
Oh, I guess. In what year was the first ever Royal Rumble?
88.
Wow, why do you know that?
Jim Duggan.
Wow. Which pay-per-view event is mostly regarded as the most successful single pay-per-view event?
WrestleMania.
So they're saying like specifically
WrestleMania 1.
Which one was regarded as the most successful?
WrestleMania 1.
Nope.
WrestleMania 2.
Nope.
SummerSlam 1.
Why did you stop going in order?
WrestleMania 3.
Correct. What was the main event of that one?
Hogan and Andre at WrestleMania.
So that's the biggest one. Last question. Which pay-per-view event got added to the Big 4 to make it the Classic 5? Really?
WrestleMania 4 or WrestleMania. Wait,
No.
King of the Ring.
Yes,
Yeah,
correct.
yeah.
I've never heard that
No,
before.
I knew that. It used to be a big one.
Wow. Well, you did very well
Because
on this.
those are like the only 5 they had, and then they started doing in your house, like half pay-per-views.
I've
Like
just
those
watched
were
all of those old
supplement
in your
pay-per-views.
houses.
Yeah, those are pay-per-views to like supplement in between. I think like originally, I want to say it was like you had the big 5, and then you had like 4 or 5 in your house.
They've been what I've been watching for nap time lately. I put that on and I fall asleep.
Well, you're saying you're not gonna watch King Mabel?
Of course, we watched King Mabel. It was a tag team match with Mo too.
Sir Mo?
Sir Mo,
Okay.
correct. It was. So good job. We're going to move into talking about our last review show of the week, and that is looking at this week's NXT UK. So NXT UK this week starts with a preview of the main event triple threat tag team match, with each team getting a little chance to talk about basically how they're going to win, why they think they're going to win, etc. Thought it was a
Like
pretty
a breakout tournament where it's like everyone's like, I'm gonna win.
Man, I'm gonna win. I thought it was a solid package to start the show and sort of hype what I think should be a pretty cool main event. Speaking of cool, we get opening match of Sam Gradwell taking on good old Von Wagner, because who could get enough of Von Wagner? I don't.
No one.
Well, I'm just happy because as a guy who quit watching NXT, at least I still am gonna get Von Wagner in my
Exactly.
life because
Well,
it's
I
important.
think everyone wants that because, as the saying goes, it's Von Wagner's world and we're all living in it.
And I'll get Lash Legend too because I don't want to miss out on her. So
You would never.
No. We get some trash talk to start, then some punches by each man. Wagner takes control, delivers really basic offense to the grounded Gradwell, fall away slam by Wagner, back elbow and a rest hold by Wagner, couple of strikes by Gradwell before an extended bear hug from Wagner, which was just...
Which
what's
then
more exciting
it
than a bear?
evolved into a standing bear hug.
What's more exciting than a good old bear hug?
A standing bear hug.
Gradwell then with a flurry that includes nothing other than strikes and a body slam. Flatliner by Wagner for 2. Gradwell is defiant, slaps Wagner, who then levels Gradwell with the clothesline. Gradwell avoids being thrown through a table, as Wagner did with Ikemen Jiro, I believe it was.
I thought he threw him in the crowd.
So he tries to apply a sleeper. Wagner counters the sleeper directly. It hoists him up on his shoulders and hits that finishing slam thing that I never know what it is. Never
It's
think
something
it looks
from a
great.
fireman's carry. I don't care enough to say what it was.
It was pretty much just an extended squash match. Gradwell hit nothing but punches and forearms. One wrestling move, and that was a body slam, which is not anything impressive.
Whoa. It's a body slam, okay? It is never not impressive, I think is what you meant to say.
So Von Wagner is big, but he lacks intensity, aggression, and charisma. He just kind of executes basic big man stuff with no real flair. It doesn't really have a presence, right? Like, he's just there. And he seems a great fit for main roster to me. Like, I'm surprised he's not already there doing what he does.
I'm surprised he's not winning Money in the Bank, taking a while to unhook it, and then when he wins the World Heavyweight title, giving a muted expression. Yes, that is referring to Jack Swagger.
So I was not super impressed with this opener. I can't imagine.
All I'm going to say is Von Wagner bad.
Yes, he is bad. Smith and Carter are warming up backstage ahead of the main event, but instead we get Zaya Brookside and Eliza Alexander. They were asked...
You sound so thrilled. It's like, instead we get Zaya Brookside.
They asked about their questionable tactics, I guess, last week. Amal interrupts as they start to answer, and she accuses Zaya's father of getting her a babysitter in Eliza Alexander.
She's definitely not muscle.
Eliza thinks that she lives in Amal's head. This is Amal speaking, but now it's time to pay the rent, which I thought was a cheesy scripted WWE line.
Yeah, I thought that was dumb.
She wants a match with Eliza Alexander, sure.
Whoever wants that.
So scripted lines seem cheesy. Amal has good fire, but she's only okay talking. I think Zaya's a pretty believable bratty heel. I just don't find her interesting wrestling-wise at this point.
That is fair. I didn't really care for this. I thought that line was stupid.
I did too.
And I just don't really care about this. And I guess calling her babysitter is fine because, like I said, she's definitely not muscle.
She's not adding anything to Brookside's presentation.
No.
I don't know anything about this person. But anyways, we get an Ivy Nile vignette. Basically, she works harder than anyone. Mako Satomura is a legend, so Nile can
Wasn't
study...
that Draco Anthony's thing? That's like... I work harder than anyone.
He got cut. He's gone.
Yeah. I guess
I thought this was a strange line because she says that Mako's a legend, so she can study film on her, but Mako can't study film on Nile. Why not?
There's a bit.
There is. She's had several matches.
There's enough.
And there's footage of her working out and doing all kinds of stuff. So I don't know. It was strange. She says that Ivy Nile, that is, she will bring the title home to Diamond Mine. And I thought she sounded better here in this recorded segment than in live ones. So that makes sense, right? As somebody new to
It
this.
seems to be the thing.
Right? So, yeah, she sounded
the common narrative, I should say.
completely fine here. Mark Andrews is shown leaving the building. He's asked about his upcoming match with Kenny Williams. And I think we see Kenny, or as my notes say, Keeny. Keeny is, I think he's crouched down. The idea is letting the air out of Mark Andrews' tire, I guess. Anyways, they start brawling. And we sort of see Tiger Turan is kind of squatting and watching them from a distance.
I didn't even notice that.
So, yeah, weird. Rohan Raja and Teoman are now shown backstage warming up as well, just making sure we get a glimpse of all three teams before they have their match. But before that, we get a match between people that are in that group of people I can't differentiate in this company, right? So it's Angel Hayes versus Stevie Turner. I don't know which one's which. One of them is one of them. And
Angel Hayes
the
is the jobber,
right? If you put these women in a lineup, a whole bunch of them, I don't know who is who, right? If you put Turner and Hayes and Amelia McKenzie, Eliza Alexander, and if there's probably a couple other Brookside, I would know. It's not that she's interesting, but like there's just a whole clump of them that they really don't dedicate any time to character development, and they're just kind of there.
Yeah.
But anyways, Stevie Turner is fired up because she gets a bit of a split screen promo here. She calls us all one-dimensional worms. We should pay attention because the future is 4D. Apparently, they tell us she is the four-dimensional superstar, which feels like you're trying too hard to find a nickname to me.
I don't understand what that gimmick even is. Like, I don't get it.
So Turner is thrown. Oh, she throws an armband in Angel Hayes' face and lands a boot to take control. We get a flurry by Hayes then, including a drop kick. Running knee by Turner for 2. Running boot to Hayes in the ropes, followed by a neckbreaker. Another flurry from Hayes ends with a sling blade. Turner hits a pump kick and a side effect for the pinfall win here. So, I don't know, just another like standard lower card women's match on this show. And again, since their personalities are never really developed, they're largely interchangeable and undistinguishable.
Yeah, I don't understand what the point of having like a match is. It's like it doesn't really like, it's not. This doesn't change anything.
No, that's a nice way of saying. I think Turner does show a little bit of charisma, right? She's at least trying to be interesting. I don't know if she's successful, but she's at least doing something. But a pretty standard match, I thought. Not bad, but just like. I don't know, feels like an NXT match, right?
Yeah, and it was just there. It didn't.
A couple people getting experience on TV.
Yeah, it didn't do anything for me, and it didn't change anything.
Correct. Amelia McKenzie, then, another one of these interchangeable ones, is apologizing to Mako Satomura backstage because she lost to Last Legend last week. Mako tells her, be more strong, train harder, be better, and it's over.
This is really funny. So it's basically like, I'm sorry, I suck and I lost.
Do better.
Train more, do better. Just
next,
be better.
Move on. Yep.
That's probably the best advice, though.
That's all it was.
Be better.
Then it's
That's like saying I'm sick. It's like, be healthy.
That's right. The only team we haven't seen warming up, and that's Mustache Mountain. They're getting ready backstage and start walking towards the ring for the main event. But first, we come back from a brief break, and it's an East End bookie segment. So that's Shaw Samuels and a bit of Noam Dar. They will beat Wolfgang and Damon Kemp because Dar.
Why are they teaming up? Did I miss something?
Wolfgang and Kemp, because Wolfgang, remember, after it was almost like recruiting him. It was after the match last week, I think it was. Wolfgang said he was gonna teach him some, I don't know, some Gallus something or other.
Did he?
He did. I remember this. So, anyways,
I totally blipped on that.
They say Dar and Shaw are real friends, and Kemp and Wolfgang are fake friends. So
are they even friends?
That gives them the advantage. I don't know. There was more to this, but that was the gist of it. I didn't really love these East End bookie. It's just like, why are you focusing so much on Shaw Samuels when Noam Dar is really entertaining?
I thought I did like it though, because Dar was. I thought they were entertaining here actually.
Yeah, I just think Samuel should be the clear second, and in these segments he's not. But in the
I don't
Supernova
mind.
sessions,
it adds a little more to the Dar act, so I'm okay with that. I liked it here because I liked the bit with Dar. I like Dar.
Me too. Main event time. It is D Familia.
He needs more than a basic figure. I'd like an elite of him with the cup.
Taking on Smith and Carter, taking on Mustache Mountain for the NXT UK Tag Team Championships. So I like this style because one member of each team is in at all times.
Yeah, I'll say this is one point where WWE kind of went up to AEW because I prefer this
Yeah, I like
way
it
of
too.
doing it as well.
So Teoman, Carter, and Bate.
Makes it always feel like a multi-man match.
It is. Take turns hitting moves and dodging moves to start. Bate and Carter then work together to take out Teoman before turning and facing each other really quickly. Smith and Carter double team Teoman, and as Trent Seven is down, Raja's in and he's DDT'd by Seven, who's then power slammed by Ashton Smith. D Familia gets Seven and Smith trapped in the ring apron and attack them while they're in there. We get a backbreaker by Teoman and a big power bomb by Rohan Raja. He's a powerful kid. As D Familia isolates Seven for a little while here. Eventual hot tag to Tyler Bate. He obviously is going to clean house after that. Get an exploder suplex and a standing shooting star by Bate to Ashton Smith. Swinging side slam a bit later by Raja, but he takes an immediate German suplex from Seven. Avalanche Emerald Flosion by Seven to Ashton Smith. Teoman attempts to use the belt, but Seven takes him out, grabs the belt, and teases using it on Ashton Smith. But the inevitable Bate has a problem with that. He grabs the belt to stop Seven from cheating. Carter then dives to the floor, takes out Bate, and Ashton Smith rolls up Trent Seven to get the win. We have new tag team champions, as I predicted. It's Carter and Smith, and also as predicted, it's not that it's any great prediction by me. It was pretty obvious, but we're getting the Mustache Mountain fall apart here because Bate.
Yeah, it was more like Trent Seven was saying like he said he would be done when he lost the titles, and
Right.
so
he's following up on
yeah.
that. Yeah, Bate and Seven are in the ring. You can hear them sort of talking about what's just happened. They start to get heated. Trent Seven says they're done. He walks away as Bate asks if he's serious. So I thought this was a really entertaining main event with a result I expected, but I am also fine with it, right? Like Smith and Carter have been really good in their lengthy feud with Mustache Mountain, putting on really good matches. They've impressed me a lot over this little run lately. So I think they deserve a title run, so I'm happy to see them win here. If I had my way, I would have D Familia hang around and be the heel contenders because they can always fall back on the we never got pinned, right? So
I would even go like I kind of wish they also would have gone like D Familia win here, and I feel like that'd also be more
Carter
annoying for Mustache
keep
Mountain.
chasing.
It'd be more annoying for Mustache Mountain because like if you D Familia could cheat them 1,000 times, it's like see we should have cheated first,
Right?
And then also yes, the babyface is chasing kind of thing.
Right. So I thought a very good main event, and the Seven Bate split has happened as expected, which gives them something to do, and then these tag teams can carry on.
Maybe it's like a retirement match for Seven against Tyler Bate.
Could be.
I'm sorry, I love you.
You're right. So outside of a really good main event match, I don't think there was anything else of note on this show.
When you got Von Wagner opening, you're not bookending here.
There's a Gradwell Wagner with a typical Wagner match. Turner Hayes match was nothing. No segments really of significance. So
yeah.
Despite really liking the main event, I couldn't give this show more than a C because the rest of it was like totally skippable. You?
Yeah, the main event was good. I thought that was pretty good, but then there's nothing else. Like, the Mako promo at least made me laugh.
Yeah,
but
just
not
like
for
do
the
better.
Then the Dard Shaw was fine. Other than that, like the other two matches I didn't care for, and then nothing else really stood out. So I'd give it a C. Like, there's nothing you really need to see. Like, if you want to watch the main event, cool, but
it was good.
You don't need to.
Right. So that brings us to the end of that review. We only will have one more segment because you said there's no figuring it out this week. There was nothing exciting from the world of figures.
Nope.
So our final segment will be what we like to call any other wrestling business. And since we're not covering NXT this week, hooray, the only thing we're going to do is quickly preview and predict the lovely Hell in a Cell, right?
Yep. That will be fun.
And so I honestly don't know what most of the matches are, so you're getting my fresh takes on this.
I'm picking as we go because I didn't care to do it beforehand.
No, I don't either.
Moss Corbin, no holds barred. I'm picking Moss because why would Corbin win?
And Moss has been repackaged, and I think they're going to want to push this kid.
We'll call it a D package.
I would, right, the depackaging of Moss, I believe he wins here as well.
Yeah, Kevin Owens, Ezekiel. That sounds not good.
I'm afraid.
I'm gonna go with Ezekiel. I don't really care.
I will.
It just seems like that's what they would do.
And since I don't really care, and I just don't want Kevin Owens to lose, I'll take Kevin Owens just because. To be different, I'll take Kevin Owens. I don't really know why. I don't know. Isn't it that he sees through it and thinks that Ezekiel is Elias?
Yeah, and then he was also coming up with the theory that Elias died a long time ago, and then
Of
that
course.
Ezekiel was pretending to be Elias Dillon, and now he's just being. It's the whole thing's stupid. And then he mocked him by coming out as Ken Owens one week.
Right. So I'll take Kevin Owens. I probably am wrong, but just for the sake of variety.
Lashley versus Omos and MVP. I'm gonna say he pins MVP, and so Lashley wins.
I guess because they can't keep having him lose to Omos, right?
He lost
once or twice.
I think this is the third match.
I think it is too. So
yeah,
I agree.
think once. I don't know.
I think Lashley gets his win back, but not at the expense of Omos, which makes sense, right? So yeah, MVP takes the pin.
It'd be like Balor versus Lashley and Rush. I think he beat Rush. Elimination Chamber, 2019, Intercontinental title, and then at WrestleMania they had the match where Lashley had the yellow eye contacts and Demon Balor beat him
right
fast. Back when Leo Rush was with Bobby Lashley, good times.
I miss him and Dante Martin together. That tag team was sick.
I forgot about that already.
Super fun.
When was that?
I don't know.
That was this year?
Maybe.
Yeah, but I don't remember it. That shows how short it was. They had 2 matches on Dynamite, I think.
Yeah.
And Rush was that's
and then gone.
Because Dante Martin was in Team Taz for 1 week.
Right.
AJ Styles, Finn Balor, and Liv Morgan, because Liv Morgan has been given the right to do the Too Sweet hand, which that's stupid.
Okay.
Because her and Ripley used to be a team.
I did not know this match.
Versus Judgment Day. I didn't know it either until I looked up the card.
So Judgment Day is Priest, Edge, and Rhea Ripley?
Yeah, I'm going to go Judgment Day.
Me too. They just seem like the people that are getting attention, right? So I would think that they're going to roll with this gimmick for a bit, so I would assume they get the win here too.
Yep.
Especially because Liv Morgan doesn't win high-profile matches, right? So why would it start now? Feels like, anyways. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a main roster expert, but
I don't remember the last time it was on pay-per-view. Austin Theory, Mustafa Ali, the U.S. titles on the line.
They're not letting Mustafa Ali win an important match, so I'll take Theory, obviously.
And correct me if I'm wrong. Actually, you wouldn't know, but I'm pretty sure that Hell in a Cell's in Chicago. Guess who's from Chicago? Ali.
Yeah, right. So no way.
Nope.
I just saw
no way, Jose.
Good old company man John Cena saying his favorite wrestler is Theory. Of course, because it's him in younger version, basically, right? And hey Vince, who do you want me to put over? Who's your favorite guy right now?
Yeah, he would say Theory. Von Wagner if Vince said that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He checked with Vince first, and Vince said, Theory, go with Theory.
Belair, Lynch, Asuka, Raw Women's title.
Belair, Lynch, Asuka. I will say Bianca Belair. I'm
gonna take Belair too.
I just don't think it's time to move the title off of her.
Yeah, and I think Asuka had enough time with the title, and Lynch dropped it to Belair.
Well, and I don't think they care about Asuka at all.
No.
And
I don't even know why she's in the title match.
I don't think it's time for Lynch at this point, so I'll take Belair.
Yeah. The only Hell in a Cell match on the show, Rhodes Rollins. I'm gonna take Rhodes because I don't see why Rollins would win. Unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't think so. What's this? Their third match too?
Yeah, and Cody won twice, so I don't know. I figure it's just easier to have Cody go over again rather than have Rollins win a third match.
And you can't go even Steven, so you're gonna have 2-1 no matter what. And Cody seems like the only person you can build to face Roman.
Although they teased McIntyre facing him at the Clash at the Castle, and also Roman's not on the show again.
Yeah, which I could see because
he was on the last show, but he didn't defend the title.
Because Clash at the Castle, they're not gonna want any sort of meaningful title changes or anything at that. I don't think they will. They generally don't when they go overseas.
Yeah, but that's a big stadium show.
I think they'll wait, and so I will say that it's going to be Cody again because they're going to keep him strong until he beats Roman Reigns eventually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Is that it?
That is it. Roman Reigns isn't even there.
Interesting.
No Usos.
Interesting. And we're going to maybe watch this, ?
I want to see Rhodes Rollins, I guess.
We'll put it on and then see what happens. Maybe you'll be second screening it, and maybe I who normally don't, who just focus on what's on TV because I'm old, I might even second screen some other stuff on this one. But we'll see because I've got the basketball game, right? So anyways.
If I'm not good tomorrow, I don't know how much I'd want to subject myself to this, but we'll see.
Yeah, we will check it out, and I might check out In Your House tonight.
I actually forgot that was happening until you mentioned it before we recorded.
I can't imagine I would be motivated to come down and review it, but you never know. So keep your eyes peeled. I imagine we would just maybe if we watch it, discuss it next week when we come back for episode 99 as we roll in closer to episode 100. So I think that's going to wrap it up for us this week. Thanks for joining us for any time that you take out of your week to listen to us talk about wrestling. I appreciate it. Somebody new did leave a comment saying that they do enjoy that it comes out every Saturday and they listen to it regularly, which is one of our goals, is to just put out content every Saturday for you guys. I don't think maybe we've missed one that we had to do on a Sunday.
Yeah, maybe a couple times.
It's been pretty much 2 years of us hitting every Saturday afternoon, evening. So thanks for joining us. We do appreciate it. If you want to contact us, fnswrestling@gmail.com, FNS_wrestling_podcast on Instagram, or leave a comment on YouTube.
I should remember to post.
I always reply. The most comments we get are through Podbean. That's totally fine. I will always reply to any comments we get at this point. So that's going to wrap it up for us. We will see you back here next week for episode 99. And until then, take care.